Hello and welcome to Toronto Ultra's Merk and Maven podcast. We got a brand new banger for you, hot off the major 3, and we've got this sexy bastard with us, Hicksy from Toronto Ultra. Brother, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you two?
I'm good, dude. I was chilling. I played a little Zelda, played a little DMZ, went outside with the pup for a while and hung out. Got a little sun. I'm trying to work on my glow.
Yeah.
You're looking good. You do look good. Honestly, this is like we've had issues in the past where he turns his camera on and he looks
like the shirt.
Kind of like that picture that we're gonna see later. Like
no.
where you look, Casper the Ghost-esque. But yeah, doing well. I don't know what it is, but events these days kick my ass. I don't know. I think I'm just old.
I'm getting old too.
Jeez, but yeah, it usually takes me a day or two to like recuperate. But I'm excited.
I don't know if it was like daylight savings time or what, because that was,
it.
Saturday night. But I know I slept like a baby, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. Slept amazing at the hotel, and I was in Dallas, so I just got to go home. But like Sunday night, I'm back in my bed, like rested, feeling good, and I could not sleep at all. I was just tossing and turning Sunday night. I don't know if it's a time change or what. I was out of it, bro.
I don't know if I'm weird, but I actually like hotel beds. Most people can say about them, but I actually
he's the same way. This guy's like, I love going to the hotel. He turns his AC down to like 60, gets under the blankets, and then doesn't leave for like
65
the entire day. 65. That's
when you
cold.
sleep, yeah. Because our thingy coach, performance coach, suggested turn it down a few
65?
degrees.
Okay.
65, 66.
So you're telling me I've been working on my performance my whole life and didn't even know it?
Yep. The body needs
What's
to.
What's up now, Joe? You've been laughing.
I don't know. I'm not performing for anything now. I don't need to do that. I'm not playing pro COD anymore. I'm good.
I'm a natural performance coach is just what it boils down to. But all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna try. I mean, we have like 24 episodes we're doing this year, so we're gonna look to try and bring a guest on basically every single episode. Made a lot of sense to have Hicksy on for a couple of reasons. One, it's the Toronto Ultra podcast, and two, you guys just won, which is pretty fucking awesome. So this is what we're going to do today for those watching. We are going to kind of talk Hicksy, get to know him a little bit. I think for most people in the know, you obviously didn't come out of nowhere. You had some incredible challenger stuff going on. But for people that just watched the Pro League, it was maybe just like, who the fuck is this guy? Are they going to be good? They just saw your KD and was like, what? And then suddenly you won an event. So I think there's some cool stuff to chat about with you. So we're going to get into that. Joe, where do you want to get started?
I mean, I think just sort of how did you get in competitive COD? That's always a good question to start off with.
Yeah.
I like hearing people's sort of start. So how'd you get into it?
I had I have a little brother, right? Me and my little brother. He's 2 years younger than me, and we both loved watching it from. I think the first game we watched it started in Black Ops 2. I feel like a lot of people started in Black Ops 2 when it started to grow and whatever. So obviously watched you a few times. Well, yeah, so then I'd say the start of Ghost, me and my brother played. I think it was on Xbox One at the time. We just went to Xbox One for the year.
Yep.
So me and him played, but we actually had to share an Xbox because my dad and mum lived separately, but we had to go to each house every other night, if you know what I mean. So it was one night my dad's, one night my mum's. So we'd play on an Xbox. Obviously, we couldn't afford to get 2 Xboxes for both houses. That's just ridiculous. Right. So we'd take the Xbox to school in one of our bags, go and plug it in at the next house, and then we had a routine where it was I would play from 4 till 7 when we got back home. He would play 7 till 10. But obviously, that becomes an issue when you get on a team because we were on a team where technically with 5 players, because me and him were on the same team competing, but like we'd have tournaments where I'd play the first 3 rounds and he'd get to play the finals or whatever, like little Twitter tournaments and stuff. Nothing major, because obviously we were terrible back then. This is like when I was 15, he was 13 or something. So we'd share a console. He was way better than me as well, by the way. So that you just know my teammates were fuming as well. Like the ones who had to play with me for a little while, they were fuming whenever my brother got off. So we shared, and then I think it would have been AW. We again just kind of pissed around playing like the odd tournament, whatever Twitter tournaments. And then I think the age thing came in right after AW, or was it? Yeah, it was after AW.
Yeah, it was like Ghost AW. AW. Yeah, it was right around there.
Yeah, so obviously that for a lot of people that was when they just saw it. There's no point.
Who played AW and then couldn't? So it was after AW.
Yeah. So we both stopped playing. He obviously was way younger, so he had a long way to go. He had 6-7 years or whatever it was, probably 6 years. So for him, I think he was done with it. And I was, to be fair, as well. And then I got to when I was 17. It was IW, sort of like the mid end of IW. And I still had an Xbox One, and I think it was on PS4 by now. And someone who I used to play with way back in Ghost messaged me just to play in 8s or something. So I played. Obviously still liked it, whatever. Got back into it with him, just played again, just pissed around playing tournaments. And then the year after that was World War II after IW.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was when I started again kind of grinding it. Got a team again, set team, scrimmed every day. That was the first LAN I went to was Birmingham in World War II. LG one, I think, right?
Yes.
LG Splice final. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
Splice. That final was nuts. That was a crazy final.
I was
getting booed, dude. I think I saw went to the bathroom and they were all just yelling, "Fuck you, Maven! Fuck you, Maven!" I was like trying to the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah,
that's where I started. I think that event.
And then just from there, I just grinded and then worked my way up.
I think it's cool to hear about the little brother though. Like, sorry, Joe. Like what's the thing? Like, if it's like sports or anything, the younger brother's usually better. Just like the competitive nature of it.
Yeah. You have someone from a younger age that you're competing against, whereas I had no one. And there's a picture that I had it as my pin tweet up until we won the tournament. I can probably find it and you can put it in post or something. Where it's me and him sat on like a footrest in front of a TV. This was during Ghost, I think, playing just like a 1v1 split screen, and we just used to do that for hours and hours and hours.
That's awesome. Does he still play? Is he playing?
No. He plays ranked, actually. He asked me to play ranked quite a few times. His name is still Hicksy. Yeah, his gamer tag is still Hicksy, so I had to tweet out. If you piss on a Hicksy in EU, that's not me. Don't think that's me.
That's amazing.
So yeah, he plays ranked, and I'm sure now he's probably a little bit gutted that he didn't carry on playing because, like I said, he was way better than me. So he definitely could have made it if he tried.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. No, I was gonna say you kind of are one of the first. Like, I feel like a lot of like the rookies or people who come onto the scene. You know, your Simps, your Celiums, Preds. Like, I feel like either they were known in S&D community and they just weren't old enough, or like people kind of heard of them. You were probably the first one. I went like to your like tournament results, and you really worked. Like, you went. Yeah. You don't have your first challengers win until, and this isn't like a roast, until like what, Cold War is your first like big challengers win. You played all of, or not all, but most of World War II, Black Ops 4, and MW, and then Cold War. So you really worked up the ladder, like worked your ass off. Like props, because I don't know if a lot of people could really stick that out, right? That's always kind of the discussion about it.
Like you said, most rookies now, because if you think about it this way, I feel like every single team, when they make a roster change, they're not trying to find a player who's what I do. For the 95% of roster changes, it's because they want more kills. That's just how roster changes have always worked. It's like, we need more kills, and that's just obviously like, it's the easy metric to follow in COD. It's just what everyone thinks of. We need more kills. So I can't even remember the last roster change that was sort of not about that.
We were talking about this. This was going to be a question later, so we'll just talk about that now. Like, I think, you know, a lot of the times these teams are struggling. They're struggling teams. They aren't like one move away than potential champion teams like you guys, or even like Beans with Boston, right? Like a very good team, like middle of the table. Usually these teams are the lower of the low teams. Like LAG picked up a lot of rookies. London picked up a lot of rookies, and I think those teams are looking for like potential superstars because they do need that. But you are, like you said, you are different, where they trusted you to do your thing. But I mean, even before you, like Ultra was a top 4, top 6 team. So
no, it is strange because, like I said, they were easily, I think, going into both tournaments, they were like top 3 favorites to win Major 1 and 2. Little things go their way. Who knows? They're probably in a different position. They might have been in a final or whatever. But I was never expecting to get put in just because of that reason. They were like top 4, had a chance to win. I just thought there was no way that the change would happen, to be honest.
No, that's why I just want to give massive props to like whoever the players involved, the coaching staff, whatever. That was sort of like you said, everyone just thinks you need like more kills, but whoever was look at the team and be like, that's not what we need at all. We just need someone that's going to play the right way. And like I think I said this to Joe. He kind of laughed because we were talking about this quite a bit before the show. Like, I feel like Simp and Abizi have almost created like problems for the league in the sense, like I think a lot of teams think they need to make that, but guess what? You fucking can't. Like they are
You can't. Yeah.
they are an anomaly when it comes to like an SMG duo, and I think now with you and Kleenex, it's far more of your prototypical, like you sort of have your objective sort of SMG, like the guy that's got around a 0.9, and then you have the guy that's going to fly and fry. Like that usually has been the recipe to success. But I guess I've felt like the last few years, like because of like the Sympabeezy thing, it's like people think they can recreate that, but I just don't.
You
just fucking can't.
I think you say it on the broadcast, right? When you were casting, I think I heard you say that like Simp and Abizi have just changed the way people think about an SMG duo. And like you said before, that it was always one objective, one slay heavy, and that's also just because of the way COD's gone. It's less objective. Like you don't have designated roles. I used to have an anchor, an OBJ. You don't really have that anymore. You definitely don't have that anymore. Anyone does it, but it's more just like a mindset thing. I feel like you get, if you have two subs that are just so kill, like I'd say dependent. I'm not saying Simp and Abizi kill dependent, but there are definitely some machine guns that to play well they need kills. If you have two of those, if one of them's not playing well, like the chances are the team's just not performing as well.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and that's why like I guess I was just impressed about. I mean, we're gonna talk more about the run to win and everything, but just the whatever you want to call it, it's the ability to look inside whoever like ultimately made the call and just be like, that's we don't need that. We need what works for this team. I just thought that was very fucking cool, and it's awesome.
I think Ryan and Joe, the two coaches, obviously everyone knows Joe well. You guys all know Joe from when he played.
Ginger Scumped it, or you Scumped it?
Yeah, he was very like similar to me in that type of way, like as a player. And I'd also say Ryan was. You probably won't know. Well, you definitely won't know Ryan.
I played against him.
I
played against him. Yeah.
And I can only go off what people say, but he again was a similar type of player, like a selfless submachine gun type of player. Where again, he wasn't. Neither of those two guys were known for putting up crazy kill numbers, but they were both that guy on their team that were like kind of what I do, the Phil guy who does everything else. So obviously they were probably I think they were the two that made the decision. I don't even really think the players made the decision on getting me in. It was more those two straight after the Boston game, kind of just said, we need to change this, and it was kind of their choice, I think.
Wow, awesome.
Well, it's probably like partially like I mean, it's everything. It's us as commentators, just the way that it's spectated. Like COD's so fast, and it is very hard to at times appreciate what someone like you does, because a lot of times like Kleenex will be on the 5 spree running around. That's who the POV will be on, and even like Joe, who has so much experience like playing the game, it's hard to point out those little things unless it's like a really obvious like long route, like just constantly, because it's not even that appealing to the viewer to just be like, oh, this arrow of the person we're not watching took a great route off spawn. Like it's just so fast that it's like it's difficult to even like gas you up sometimes mid cast. I mean, you had some major plays where we got behind you, but
they're just not flashy plays. No one likes watching them. No one likes. Obviously, I had the odd flashy play throughout the event or whatever, but for the most part, it's not that. And I know what Scrap and Toby do. Like they get all the kills, they do all the flashy shit that's needed, and then me and Jamie are both the guys who do the other shit, and it works.
Like the thankless job, but you fucking won. So
yeah.
Take the check
as well. To be fair, even in challenges, like most people, if they don't do too well in challenge in the pro league, they've like kind of fried in challenges, and that's how they've got in. But I've always been the same. I've always been like a 0.9 to a 1. Just even in that Cold War year when we had a lot of success with like bids, Denza, Wee Man, like I was that same guy, just doing the dirty shit.
It's cool. I love it.
I can respect that. I had to do that. I had to do a lot of that, so I respect the hell out of it. Honestly, no, you're not wrong. I mean, this is why people like you, or it's hard to explain to people how what it takes to win. And that's why I think I mean, even for me, there was a lot more skilled players than me that I played with that they just don't win. That it's the same thing nowadays.
Thing with me, yeah.
So I just don't think people really understand that team aspect and what we kind of talk about when we talk about like the system that you're building, trusting in one another in those little small decisions. So yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Awesome that you kind of know that and own it, because I mean, like
I mean,
you said,
otherwise I'd go insane. If I keep seeing a 0.9, like if I didn't understand what I was doing, I'd be like, I'm just shit.
yeah.
I think that's like the first thing I said when like we casted you. If you watch back some of the matches, like I was talking about like you coming in and how elevated Kleenex, and I think I literally said that like if he has around a 0.9, like that's literally what we would talk about is like a number. It was just like an arbitrary number we said for years, bro. Like that role, if you had around a 0.9, but your other sub was popping off as a result of like your play, fine. Like that's what you wanted. And I just sort of like it feels like we kind of like forgot about that just because sort of how the games have been and stuff. But
also Abizi. I mean, that's just because usually that guy, the 0.9 was kind of like you're just taking some really freaking hard gunfights, right? Like you're initiating things or you're filling gaps. And you're probably taking some gunfights you're not gonna win. Probably a lot more than half of the time. It's just that little freak was winning a lot of them. So it was like, you're like shit. So he kind of changed that. All right, but let's go back to kind of your whole journey. So then, right, you have a pretty solid Cold War year. Then going into what Vanguard, you get picked up as a sub, right, and then moved to NA.
Yeah, end of Cold War. I got that's when I got like the emails from Mark and Ryan to just like start the whole process. I think they had a few people that interviewed and whatever, and then picked me. So the start of Vanguard was when I moved.
You had to take an interview.
Yeah, but it was a serious process. So I had a meeting first with the old performance coach, who's called Boko. So I had an interview with him. Before I spoke
remember
to
that
Mark
guy.
Ryan.
That guy was jacked, right?
Yeah,
I think I remember that guy.
And then we had to fill out like a personality test, that sort of tells them what type of person you are, like coachability and all this stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then I think is when I spoke to Mark and Ryan. So I think at that point I kind of knew that I was gonna get the thing if I got that far in it. But yeah, it was a full on process. It took a while.
What? I didn't expect
crazy. That is wild. Well, especially because like people talk about Ultra and sort of they find the rookies, but no, I don't think anyone knew that existed. So there's going to be people clipping this like, damn, is anyone else doing this? So yeah, that's what we talked about with Ultra in their org.
To be fair, I just wouldn't be surprised if like sort of like he said, like owning that role and like having to, otherwise he go insane. Like I'm sure there's something to this fucking like personality test that like just shows he can deal with that. Like I'm not a fucking psychologist, but like I just wouldn't be surprised there's something to it. 100%.
There's like type A, type B people, right?
Yeah,
isn't that what
it was weird how at the end it just gave you like a score for sort of 9 traits. It was like confidence, coachability. I can't really remember the other ones, but like them sort of things. And then at the end, he gave you like a blanket, like what's it called, like title kind of. He said like I think mine's Maverick, but then at the same time, like Bance is a Maverick, Scrap was a Maverick, Jamie something. So there's just loads of different ones, but for the most part, a lot of gamers are Mavericks. So I think that's something to do with it.
Assume there's a certain amount of confidence that you have to have, like. You can't be a professional athlete, a professional gamer at this level unless you're a cocky fuck. Like, I mean, maybe not cocky, but you know what I mean. Like, you have to have some self-belief. You have to.
That's crazy. Okay, so then Vanguard. I mean, Vanguard goes, I think, as well as it could for challengers. I would say. I'm sure you would like to win. You the last one, the big one where you guys got second.
We could have gone 4 for 4.
Okay, so it was you, Scrap, Vickle, and then Mo.
Yeah.
And here,
there it is. It's Voldemort, dude.
It's Voldemort. I mean, listen, I don't think yours is that bad, bro. Scraps picture right here. Scraps is rough. You want to know what it looks like? It looks like the old like CDL broadcast when we were in our. What did they call that freaking thing? My gosh.
The virtual set.
Yes, the virtual set. And if we got any closer, like our hands looked huge, and that's literally.
I remember that.
That's literally what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
I wanted to die. I want to die that year.
We won't have to talk about that. We won't have to talk about that. You guys have a very solid year. What, you go 3 for 4 on LAN?
2 for 4.
2 for 4 on LAN.
2 for 4, but the other 2 were seconds.
Other 2 were seconds. So that's why you and Scrap have always gotten to a final, right? That's where that started.
Yeah.
And then you guys finished second in the Challengers Champs.
Yeah.
And you guys dropped Mo before that, right? For Assault?
Mo before Boston, actually. We dropped Mo, so it's kind of, I mean, so we won Minnesota with Mo, then we came second at Toronto with Mo, but I was really ill that weekend. I had some, I don't know what I had. I don't think it was COVID, but I had COVID afterwards. But anyway, I was horribly ill to where we lost like really early in winners, had to make a deep run Saturday. I honestly wanted to lose. I was that ill. I was just playing, not even calling out against. Played like Boston Academy, played Doug. Somehow beat him. I wasn't even calling out. It was terrible. And somehow got to the final, nearly won, whatever. Then we won an elite, and then dropped Mo after the elite, which was kind of tough. But we knew before the elite we were going to drop him anyway. But yeah, we won the elite, dropped Mo for assault, then won Boston with assault, and then lost champs with Adam.
Oh, so okay, well that makes it a little better than I thought it was. I thought like the drop happened, and you just like lost him right. I thought it happened right before champs, and then you lost at champs. So you did get a win. Okay,
yeah, we got.
That makes it like a little better. In my, I thought it was. Yeah, a little better.
Yeah. So you four all have I guess 5 all have a really good year.
Yeah.
I would say in terms of challengers, because we all know how it is. It felt like you guys. The good thing is you were under Ultra, which I'm sure helps.
Yeah.
Like, but we know how challengers is. It feels like every week you see on the timeline, I'm a free agent, I need a new team. I'm a free agent, I need a new team. My team's sketched. It's wild, wild west out there. It's crazy. So you guys found a sort of core in obviously what 3 of you got to CDL. So
yeah, it definitely being under Ultra, because obviously a lot of the issue in challenges is people just want to get paid. So they'll take a bet. It might even be a worse opportunity just to be on under an org that gives them a little bit of money. And obviously Ultra were paired with Singularity for that year. Obviously Singularity were a big name in challenges. They had Clean X and Insight back in Black Ops 4.
Yep.
So obviously that helped obviously keep us together, like stability. And then obviously me and Harvey, I knew Harvey from Europe. Played against him quite a bit at the end of Cold War. And then Scrap, actually, I didn't know Scrap at all. Mo obviously won Cold War champs, so everyone knew Mo. Scrap, I think Mo brought Scrap, because I think I had to. It's a weird story, but basically I had to play with a Canadian because of Toronto. So Mo was obviously Mo was the best Canadian that I could play with. And then I think he brought Scrap, and then I took Harvey. So we just kind of joined.
Awesome. So then coming into this year, the big question was like, did you think you were getting a starting spot? Or I mean, were you hoping, or were you not really sure?
Yeah. I was hoping. It was a weird off season because I thought after that Vanguard year, obviously no one's like guaranteed one, but I thought I was guaranteed one. I was like, you can't do much better in challenges. I was like, I've basically won everything.
And Ultra had like an off year.
Ultra didn't play that well. Obviously, everyone kind of knew they were getting rid of Ben, and I thought I was like the ideal replacement for Ben. It would
Ben Jr. Perfect.
I would take a Ben Jr. Like, so I thought I was, even if it wasn't here, I thought I was guaranteed somewhere else, like on one of the other teams who was going to be making changes. But I think the problem was just how long it kind of took Ultra to sort the 4th. Meant that when I knew I wasn't starting, that everyone else was sorted. The only team that wasn't was Vegas. And I mean, everyone knows about Vegas. So I didn't really.
You're like, I'll stay here.
I'll stay on the bench.
Here.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, I thought I was going to start somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I think that's like, listen, it's probably tough to have the luxury of doing stuff like that, but I feel like we've seen a lot of rookies come in, and unless you are like, you know, the superstar talent you've heard of for years, like a Scump or something, like unless you are like that a team is building around, a lot of people have come and gone if they've gone on to like a lower tier team. But like, if you have a chance to come into a good system and a good team, as we just saw with you, like you got a shot, right? And I know a lot of people, like you said, in challengers, you kind of jump in, you just want to get paid, right? And I think a lot of people in your position are that same way. Like
you want the chance,
you want the chance, you want to check, you'll go to any team, but
I
mean, it worked out for you that you were able to stay, gotta wait for this.
Very lucky, yeah, because again with the way I play, I need like certain talent around me for it to be like a winning team. I'm not going to be a 1.2 across a full like LAN or whatever. So like I need other people that can do that, like a 1.1 whatever. I need other people that can do that stuff. So if you put me on, no disrespect, if you put me on a Vegas, Florida, whatever, like some of those teams, like obviously I back myself to make them better, but I don't think we could win.
No, I mean, we've seen it a lot in I think basketball is what always comes to mind. Like we've seen a lot of teams that have I'm not comparing the players one to one by any stretch, but you have like your superstars like Kobe and Shaq, or like these different teams of superstars, LeBron and AD. Like you need good role players. And there's been good role players that have been on like poopy teams and been like nobodies, and then they've come in with some really good talent, and they've suddenly like their career's been rejuvenated. They've just been like the perfect fit and stuff. So like 100%. Like this is just it worked out, man. I'm just happy for you because I didn't know the road you I didn't know the road you have, bro. Taking turns with your fucking brother to play. Like,
no, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
You kind of said in your interview though, you were close to going back home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's a bit like contract based.
Okay.
But,
cool.
Yeah, there was just a situation around New Year where like I had an option to stay, where obviously at the time again Toronto were really good. I didn't think they were going to make a change really all year. They were looking really good, and I didn't really know anything about the issues that they had. So I was looking at it from that perspective, and then also my challenges team wasn't doing too well, and I knew a lot of people. Obviously, the team that I was on in challenges back in the EU was really good, the Cold War one. So I just thought I could get on a better challenges team in the EU basically, and you see it kind of quite a lot in challenges now. Like EU kind of dominates the top 4 challenges teams ish. You see a lot of like Maple now has won the most in challenges, Harry, Gizmo, like those, Stevo. You know what I mean? Like those kind of players. Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. You see a lot of those kind of players. So I was debating, basically I'd go back home and play with like a Harry, Gizmo, Denza, like some sort of team like that where like we feel like we could win every challenges event. And then from there, surely I get another opportunity somewhere else. So that was like the mindset. Or it would stay in the EU where there's definitely more eyes on challenges, obviously. But probably on a worse team with less chance of winning. And I chose to stay, but I was very, very close to going home, yeah.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, like you said, sort of top 4 team again. You're just like hanging out and trying to do your thing. And especially the year you didn't have that core group, right? That you had in Cold War. You were probably going through the blender a little bit, up and down, new team, this, that. So then I guess, I mean, I want to hit like, what, you get a call? You get a phone call one day? After the Boston match, you brought into a meeting?
Boston game. Scrap. It was straight after the Boston game. I was playing in the Elite the same day, so it was the third day of the Elite, and my team was doing pretty well, to be fair. I think we were 4-1 or something. So I finished the Elite way later than their Boston game, but Ryan and Joe had stayed, 2 coaches, and I think they had a call with some people, whoever it was. And I was just waiting to walk home with them, because that's just what we like normally do. We just walk back. Like me and Joe live in the next like building over, so I was going to walk back with Joe. And Ryan's a troll. I don't know if you spoke to Ryan, but like he's a troll. So like he said to me, "You're in." And I was like, "Okay, are we walking?" And I was like, just thinking we're just going to walk home, and he was being serious. Said I was playing. Obviously, in that moment there, I was like, "Holy shit, what is going on?" So I still didn't know any problems or anything. Like, I didn't know what was happening. They lost 1 game to Boston, like the first game.
Yeah, you're not fucking with me, right? You're not fucking with me.
I'm like, well, I genuinely didn't believe it, but yeah, it just happened straight after the Boston game.
That's awesome.
Just to let you know, our last guest that we had in the show was Standy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. No. It's just funny that was the last person we had on. I thought about you coming on. I'm like, well, awkward, but not really. But like, I think was that the one where Stanley kind of said like that was the one where was that the match where the players sort of like he said they sort of walked out of the room and it was real like awkward.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they had an idea. Maybe something was up.
Yeah, that was a Boston game. Everyone, that's generally from last year as well. Vanguard. That's just how like Jamie, Toby, obviously they had Ben and Cam there last year, but that's kind of how they reacted to like a bad loss. Is they just kind of all storm off, pack all the shit and just leave. Like they don't really talk about it because I don't know if it's just because like, I mean Ben was kind of hot-headed, but like
take a breath first type thing.
Yeah,
like take a breath.
Regroup.
So yeah, they kind of left, but I don't think because like I said, it was the coaches who kind of made the decision. I don't really think the players were too like pushing it or anything really. So I don't think any of them really knew.
Well, I kind of figured it'd be like that just because, I mean, Toronto Ultra is probably not the only franchise, but probably the one that I think is what Joe and I would hope the most that a franchise would be when this whole thing started. just with their dedication to challengers, the way they're always looking at new talent, the way they trust their coaching staff, just the way they built stuff, the way they've really, I think for a new brand, probably put the most effort into that. Just doing stuff like this with us, for fuck's sake. Like, I figure that's how it went down, because they sort of seemed like they were really trying to go after, I guess, your typical like franchise model. So I figured it was more.
I mean, even the first year, like the first Ultra year where they had like 20 players on the team, like always. I mean, that they just kind of were always a little bit different.
Yeah.
So then you get on the lineup. Just like first couple of practices, matches. Nervous at all? Was it a shit show? Kind of
shit on.
Yeah.
Oh my. So the very first day, right? So I found out on the Friday, but the Boston game was on the Friday, and then we played Vegas on the Sunday. So we had Saturday of only like warming up other teams, like no real scrims.
Okay.
So we warmed up Optic and I can't remember the second team, but Optic and someone else, and I was getting shit on. Like, I'm talking in the hard points like 15 and 35, like embarrassingly bad, and we were still winning maps. But at the end, every single map, I'm just like hands on heads, like, oh, sorry, bro, I don't know what's going on here. Like, but then I found out the next day, right before we played, Jamie, like, he always does this thing where he just pulls up a speed test, and I was on like the wrong internet line apparently, where like everyone's sharing it or some shit, and I don't know if that was the reason, but I started shooting back from there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna blame that as the reason.
Dude, even if it like wasn't it, just mentally, like, I don't know, even just like a little excuse, like, oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like,
even if it wasn't, changed and started playing with better, and I was like, okay, it was that.
Yeah. No.
He has your back, dude. He has your back. No, I'm sure playing those guys first couple of days, even if it's just warming them up, you're probably like, well, welcome to the league, I guess. All right.
It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, you gotta deal with those. Clint.
I guess I'm just curious, like, listen, we know like your role and how important it is to the team, and they had like a system you were coming into, like how, I guess, internet aside, like, I know you had played with Scrap before, and there's some history there, but how long did it take you, not from a skill standpoint or gunny or anything, just to like know what the fuck you were doing within what they were trying to do?
Yeah, it definitely took a few days, because one of the biggest things was callouts. They have some woeful callouts. For the most part, most teams just kind of get the same callouts, right, for buildings and stuff.
Dude, every team in this game, I feel like, is different, though. This is like one of the first ones. It's weird.
Fortress, for example, right? Everyone calls it maps and like green, or maps and art, right?
Yep.
We call maps green, which is like flipped, and art is pillars. But then pillars is usually what people call like the upper like railing thing, like top rails or whatever. So then like they called rails where the tree. It was all just flipped to what it really is. So the first few days, I'm hearing callouts, not reacting. I'm calling shit the wrong stuff. So for the first 3 or 4 days, it was horrible. And then obviously figuring out, because there's always little things like that my team were doing challenges that I thought was right. That then they would say like, no, we should be doing this instead. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, there's always little things that get changed, but I'd say it took like 3 or 4 days to fully get situated on what we needed to be doing.
Communication alone, like, until you got that right, like, how do you play the fucking game? Like,
that was terrible. It was actually terrible.
Yeah, I know. If you're getting a call and you're turned the wrong way, I mean, you already don't have red dots. If there are red dots, at least you might, in some situations, just snap the right way or make the right play. But without red dots, like, if you don't understand the calls, you
got no chance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I'm sure even at this major, and we'll start focusing now on sort of the major 3 ultra run. I mean, I'm sure even like, because I think the major practice for you guys, even just being in the same room with the other teams on LAN, is some of the best practice you guys have.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure you're still learning stuff even, to this day. Right, figuring out the system.
Yeah, so obviously we won our first 3. Like we beat Vegas, Optic, and New York, and then the loss to London was obviously like a bit of a not setback, but you know what I mean. Like we're not lost yet.
You think you're gonna lose that one in a game 5, yeah.
And I learned like a massive thing on like a Fortress hardpoint against them when we lost, whether I was doing wrong, but like I just hadn't been put in that situation yet in scrims and whatever. So even now, like up until the LAN or whatever, there's constantly like little things that are just getting tweaked because that maybe I've not like learned yet, or we're just trying to change or whatever it is.
Well, I think that's what is exciting just for you guys in general. Like, I feel like you're just potential to get even better, right? Like you just won, but obviously some things to still iron out. So it'll be exciting to see.
For sure.
So then this major, let's get into it. You guys finished 4-4 in Hardpoint, 5-1 in Search, 4-1 in Control over the weekend. Surprisingly, you guys were 0-3 in Hotel Hardpoint. Your only win was in the final.
In the final, yeah.
Was in the final. I guess for you guys, well, you know, that's one of your guys' maps, Hotel Control, Hotel Hardpoint. What do you think was just going wrong on the hardpoints leading up to that? Was there something you guys were doing wrong?
So the very first one was New York, and it was like the grueler, like 5-point, ended on P1, like just
a lot on that
absolute
map.
shit show.
Yeah.
And there was just really small things on each of the maps that apart from the FaZe game. The FaZe game we kind of got blown out a little bit, but even that one, there was like a period in P2 to 3 where we just held a P2, we were up, and then we had a roll for P3. But yeah, it's always just minor things in COD and Hardpoint, especially like one mistake, you flip a spawn, you get 60, or one bad hold, you let someone through. Joe and Ryan call it a cheese grater setup. Whenever we leave a cheese grater setup and there's a hole somewhere, like, and you get through, like there's always like minor things in Hardpoint that happen that just completely fuck a whole map. So
yeah, I mean, you guys weren't the only ones. I mean, Hotel Hardpoint seemed like a struggle for a lot of the teams that normally play it. Like even after you guys lost to New York, like New York had a big comeback happen against them. Thieves, which is that's one of their better maps, had an insane comeback happen against them. So it feels like, you know, I don't know. Hardpoint.
it's definitely. I feel like it's a map that has some questionable spawn points that, even though you know about them, you don't read them in game. It happened with us against Boston when Vivid spawns Kitchen on the very last plat hill and gets 3. When we need 5 points to win, we need like 8 points to win. We're thinking like they're all spawning out bed because I've just spawned like side door Kitchen. 2 seconds later, he spawns in Kitchen, gets 3. Like the spawn, even though you know about the spawn, you're not reading it. And there's a P1.
Oh yeah, that's how they won, right?
Yeah,
or like
he spawned out in like right outside the doorway, basically.
A restaurant,
And just shoots 3 of us in the back. So shit like that happens quite a lot on that map. P1, you might as well just guess. You just throw a dice on where they're spawning on P1. I don't know. We call it Bermuda spawns. I don't know if there was ever a listing on a P1, but like if we get like 3 kills on a P1, we just scream Bermuda. Like they're everywhere. Just guess where they are.
Well, it's like, the spawns are wonky, and I mean, Hardpoint's been the last couple of years, like since Cold War, it's just, but like it's also, I feel like Hotel, dude, like so many of the points have like just multiple insane like headies where it's just like a snake fiesta.
The whole fucking map is. The whole fucking map is.
But like it's when you look at it, it feels like it should play kind of normal. But then when you have like that in a Hardpoint, I feel like the crazy swings can happen just because like you shouldn't break it usually if there's a trophy down and 2 people snaking it. But when suddenly headshot multiplier kicks in, you get some wild snap from somebody, and then everything like flips on its head. And it's just like, it feels so random at times with those like just weird headshot multiplier fuck offs.
You've got P2 with the stairs head glitches on either side. P3 with the kitchen. That's the worst shit. P4 with the 2 desks and the god heady again. Making, and then P5 with all the diner headies.
Right back to the restaurant. That shit might be worse than Kitchen. I mean, pretty damn close.
4 hills in a row that just have unbelievable headies to snake.
Yeah, and like you would think, like, I guess in my head, because of that, it would really favor like rotate early, getting set up. You should be able to lock it down behind that. But then like you can snake from the push in most of those as well. So then it just, I don't want to say it comes down to luck, but sometimes, dude, it's like a lucky like headshot. You spray like pre-fire something, like you just jump and guess right where they are, and it's just like everything gets flipped on its head in a second sometimes. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like I've watched teams play perfectly there, and I'm sure you just like lose full when just some bullshit happens, and you're like,
When we found out about that kitchen spawn, I mean, obviously we knew about it in the moment, and I realized he just spawned there. We questioned it in the moment, like he's not just spawned there, is he? But then we went into a game 5, so obviously we can't get too pissed off with it. But then Ryan's come on the head and says like, yes, he has just spawned. I'm like, okay.
Well, I think we watched it back in like the replay, and I was like, holy shit, he spawned there. Because usually if you have someone in kitchen and you guys have control of hill, it's usually all P4 spawns, like double desk.
It's just because Scrap spawned out P1. And then Vivid spawns kitchen, but even P1 doesn't block front. You see it a lot of times where people are cutting front from P1, so I don't know. It's one of those that can happen, but you're just not reading it.
it's crazy because like in wild moments as a commentator, like, I'm trying my best to kind of call what's on the screen in a crazy moment. And like, then you see like something happen and it's like, I took my eyes off the minimap for what feels like a split second. Did he just spawn there or take a god route? Like sometimes you're in the moment, you're not sure. And then like you see it back and you're like, oh shit.
That was a crazy one. And I'm going to give myself gas for this, right? Against FaZe on the Mikado, there was, so the P4 to the courtyard hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when P4's up, the only two spawns are the back, like, loading bay, whatever you call it, and then that deep street, like, sort of near the new hill. And then we're, like, pushed out deep street for the road because, obviously, you can't have to play a line. You can't play too tight. But then I spawned in the loading bay. And, like, the only spawn that's open, and the game is terrible for this, but the only spawn that's open is, like, the little bike corner next to the new hill. So the little courtyard, like outside tin, where the bike is propped up against the wall.
Yeah.
That's like the only corner, and we got killers out. Just for some reason, I just checked it, and little Celium's just there, lying down in the corner, just spawned in there. And like, if we don't check it, I don't know if it really makes this thing, but like, just little spawns like that are just crazy.
And like a lot of it's just repetition and just knowing when the wonky stuff might hit.
And knowing those are spawn points. Like it feels like Mercado, people have it pretty much down. Like there's usually like 2 or 3, but knowing like you having the heads up to know that one is pretty.
I got a little bit gassed in game. I was like, yeah, that was good. Then I killed him.
I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
That's when you know you're locked, though, dude. Probably like the little moments like that. Like it's just one thing I might slip through in the madness, but you're just like have your little flow state moment of like he's there.
Yeah, because they have like those emergency spawns, is what we used to call them in the past, and that's probably one of them. It's sort of if everything else is blocked, where the fuck are they gonna be?
You spawn inside.
Let's throw them on a bicycle.
Speaking of FaZe, let's jump into that one. You guys beat New York. You guys beat Boston in a game 5. But I think the big one, the big test, probably for this org, maybe not you, but FaZe has been the boogeyman for a very long time. Was prep any different, for that matchup, or kind of the same old? Because I mean, this is a team that is. I mean, I don't think Toby and Jamie have beaten them on LAN, especially in a very long time. Yeah,
I think they're 8-0 on LAN. So we just did content, obviously, and that was one of the questions in here. Was like, was it different playing them? Obviously, because it's not the same team that lost them 8 times. Obviously, Ben and Cam were on that team. We lost them quite a lot. I was like, it probably did help because like Scraps lost him once, I think, in Major 1. Rally, I think he lost to him.
Okay,
in winners, I believe.
Yeah, with winners too. I think I remember that.
Yeah. And then obviously I'd never played him, so it definitely wasn't in either of our heads. I don't think it was even in Jamie or Toby's, to be honest. But yeah, it's definitely been the boogie team for Ultra. But I think just having new players just helped us not think about that, basically.
And then you guys kind of I mean, maybe just from you, you guys get outslayed.
Yeah.
But you break their S&D record, but we heard on broadcast, if you missed it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, Jamie said he had a dream.
Jamie's dream, yeah.
Yeah, 2 days ago that they were gonna break the streak on LSCLO. I don't know how accurate that is, but he was like saying it to the coaching staff.
He was. So we did VOD every night. On obviously the team that we were gonna play the next night. We'd go to Ryan's room. He'd plug his little laptop into the TV, and we'd go over like what obviously we thought we'd play. Basically just the S&Ds because you can't really prep too much for hardpoint. I'd do the breaks, like I'd go back later and watch breakoffs or whatever, but we just do S&D, and it was obviously between FaZe, you're playing Embassy or CeeLo. Take your pick. I mean, Jesus.
Pick your poison. Yeah.
Neither one of you going into it happy, but Jamie mentioned his dream, so like fuck it, we'll just play CeeLo. So then we prepped to CeeLo, noticed some little things. I don't know if you noticed, like Toby was just hitting top money every single
money every round.
So like, we were like for free, bro. Just walk.
So I probably shouldn't say this because I mean I'm sure they know it. Like,
well, I'm sure they do now.
Yeah. But, so I just said to Toby, just fucking hit money until they stop you doing it. So I think he did it first 3 rounds, got like 3 kills.
Yep.
And then like we basically just singled out Simp and Abizi because Sasha and Cell are so far back on the corners of the map, waiting like everyone knows Sasha's late pinches, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of how they feel. I mean, I picked it up casting it, so like I assume everyone else, if you're studying it, it seems they sort of let them two do their thing inside, but they know it feels like Cell and Slasher. The game plan probably is everyone kind of knows they're so good at it inside. So I think Cell and Slasher are probably like, all right, somehow, some way, someone's gonna fucking flank at some point.
Yeah,
right. Like if you just wait them out.
A lot of teams I feel like wait for Simp and Abizi to do something, whereas we were just doing something first. Like Toby was hitting money instantly. The one round where Toby was just like low doors beneath money and like just busted it open and killed one, and then I killed the other guy. Like that was like I noticed one of the rounds when I'd go in bomb, they'd open the door and stun in. So I'm like, Toby, when they open the door, I'm stunning them. Fucking run at it. So I stun him outside the door. Toby opens the door, free kill. Like we were just doing shit before they could do shit. Like we weren't letting them work anything. And then I think Abizi didn't get a single first blood and got blooded 3 rounds or something. So like we just shut down his. Ryan calls it cutting the head off the snake. Like just get rid of him, and like we'll deal with the rest afterwards.
Yeah, it just felt like you made them uncomfortable, whereas they dictated a lot of the fights and a lot of the moments. You guys just brought it to them. But yeah, I remember you pointing out Toby like right away. Like he's just getting there for free, like over and over again.
3 rounds in a row, and I was like, then I think they got him 1 round, and then there were some adjustments. But
Sal picked it up, and then he changed. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. I think when you're so dominant, though, Joe, like you're so lights out on that map, and like what you have been doing has been working. I think that was just the first time. Maybe not the first time, but the first time that they were tested with some of that stuff where it was like, okay, our sort of default isn't working. And usually when you're a very good search team, who do people study? They study the team that's on a roll. They're on this crazy win streak. You're watching their gameplay. I think that was the first time where they, listen, you're always making mid-round adjustments, like even if you're phased off. You don't win that many in a row without doing that. But I think that was the first time where like their core game plan was just sort of like, oh, we got to change stuff, and we got to change stuff right now, and we're already down 3-0. Like that's what it felt like to me. Like they just had to adjust, and it was like maybe too dramatic an adjustment in the moment type thing.
Yeah, even like we even watched London, because if you remember, London took them round 11 and Abizi 1v3'd like to obviously win the game round 11. So we even watched that one, and we're just trying to like figure out what they were doing, right? We just noticed they were just like heavy stacking middle and kind of just doing the same thing, like leaving Slasher and Cell to do whatever they want to do on the outskirts and just stacking middle, trying to deal with Simp and Abizi. So we basically just copy whatever worked and just did a few changes and it worked.
Because it really did feel like if Cell, like if Slasher or Cell was involved, it was Slasher like winning a 1-on-1 like outside. Yeah. If it was Cell, I feel like anytime we went to his POV, it was like late in the round where he had rotated in to help and the madness had already happened.
Yep.
Or he was the last alive trying to clutch. Otherwise, to be fair, a lot of teams, there were teams that tried to be pretty aggressive with them inside, and Abizi and Simp just fucking cut them to pieces too. Like there were some teams that tried to, but you guys just you found the hole, and dude, it was great.
Toby. Definitely helps having Toby.
Yeah, he's nuts. It was fun to like, and listen, you're obviously a massive part of this. Is just see him, I think, be able to play the way he wants to play again. And I know we talk a lot about this, in the lead into this stuff, but I think just with Standy being so different from Vance and stuff, like I just based on his KD alone, I knew Kleenex was not playing how he wanted to play, and like you kind of got to see him just get loose again. And he is, he's always been one of Joe and I's favorite players to watch when he's just on one.
I think he's the only player that like matches Abizi for pace, just flying at people.
Yeah,
so if he does that with a 1.1 or whatever it is, then that is like it's just so beneficial for us.
He'll like double the interactions of like everyone in the game. Sometimes
it's insane.
Okay, so you guys beat FaZe, get to a final. I think I remember someone said they talked to you guys in like your rooms, and they were like, "Yo, who would you rather play?" And you're like, "I'm sure everyone was like, we don't want to play that fucking crowd." But Optic wins.
Scrap was saying like, I want to play.
Yes. Okay. I mean, yeah, they're going on a crazy, losers run. They have the crowd behind them. I guess sort of just, adrenaline, through the roof for you guys. After that map 1, I know you were shushing the crowd, and then you lose a couple of maps in a row. There it is. I was like, oh shit, dude. As soon as you lost the 2 following maps, I was like, fuck, what did Hicksy do?
Because I've obviously stood up. I was not planning on doing this, obviously. Like, this is what Scrap normally does. But, like, the crowd was obviously trying to give it. I've had, like, probably one of my better maps of the weekend. I was smoking them. And then we've won. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm standing up. And I started shushing them. I was only going to do a little bit. And then I seen everyone's faces in the front, like, giving it back. So I'm, like, pointing at each individual person now, like, you. Like, pointing at each individual person. And it just went on for way too long. So then Jamie told me to fucking sit down. And then Scrap after was like, right, we don't talk shit again now until we win. So I'm like, okay. I'll on again.
Man, I think there were a lot of key moments throughout the match. I think map 1 was huge because they were on their hard point win streak. I think that Search and Destroy, you guys were down 4-2.
Hotel was 4-1.
4-1. You had a big 1v1
as well. Yeah.
Scrap had like a 3-piece on the pinch when he was.
I mean,
you guys were on offense.
5. I think he went from 0-5 to 10-7. I think so. He had a big turnaround.
The 1v1 when you were like laying outside the door, kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess for you guys, like, what do you guys think was sort of the biggest moment in that match?
So yeah, obviously won map 1, lost the next 2, and we didn't ever think we'd lose hotel control because that was like probably our best control. We didn't look like losing it ever. I don't think we'd even gone around 5 with anyone on it.
Even the Fortress was weird. Didn't it come down to like 5 1v1s?
Yeah. The Fortress. So like the first 4 rounds, we could have won 3 of them. The first round was when Ghosty kind of pissed on Jamie, but like to be fair to Jamie was when like he killed the first guy and his dead body fell in front of Dan, so he didn't see that Dan drop shotted. So like he couldn't actually see him. So like fair enough. Next round, he just made a play and like flanked us pillars. He got 2. That round's fair. The round after that was a 1v1 Jamie and Huke, and like he like didn't see him on the stage. I'm like lying down behind the stage. He like looked above him, killed him. Then the round after was a 2v2 me and Scrap against I don't know who it was. We had bomb down 15 seconds and they defused it by like, do you remember Scrap was in the corner like next to the bomb? I killed a guy closed. Got a guy closed and then like turned right and he defused about like half a second. So like 3 of the first 4 rounds were genuinely just unlucky. And like we could have been up 3-1 and who knows, but lost that one. Lost hotel control, which definitely was a little bit of like a oh shit, because we didn't lose that and we thought 100% that was like a guaranteed win. Lost that, and then Hydro again, like we were looking good on hard points, so we won the Hydro. And yeah, it's definitely that map 5. It's kind of like NBA, right? Whoever wins game 5 in a 7-game series usually just wins. Well, for the most part anyway. That's just the massive swing game. So that game 5 was huge. 4-1 down, made some good adjustments. Scrap got hot. And just clutched around 11.
So what, that game 5 for you? Yeah. I mean, and then LSC, though, you guys are probably feeling pretty good because they don't really play. They haven't played too much of it.
And again, I don't think we'd lost. We hadn't lost that all hotel. As a team, we'd, 7-0 on control before that.
I'm just curious, obviously, it was sort of, for them, Hydro, Fortress. Did you guys have a discussion? I don't know. Do you guys play Hydro or Fortress hardpoint at all? Or were you just kind of like, we saw what they were doing to the other teams before that? Let's just fucking pick Hydro?
Yeah. So we're good at Hydro, but like we played Fortress against Boston. Lost that. Probably could have won. We were up quite a bit going into a P3 on this streak to us. But, we'd have seen what they were doing. They did 100-point club Boston.
Everybody.
100-point club FaZe. I'm not playing him on that map. Like, what?
Or swimming.
Gone and we'll play Hydro. So yeah, we just played Hydro. We're good at it. We just need to watch water out. So you just notice every single time one of us is in the hill or whatever, we decide just check the water. Shotzi's in the water, just jumping around like a fucking salmon.
So it's so true. I mean, for me, it was just the hard points. I mean, you guys were not great at hard point, and then suddenly in the finals, you were like, time to win some hard points.
I mean, we obviously won
like
3
9 in a row. I think that was really it, or 7 in a row.
Yeah, they
were just fucking killing it.
Yeah, our hard point was definitely better than it showed at the weekend. Like the hotels, we definitely shouldn't have lost 3 of the first 3, like some of them. And then what else did we lose? The Fortress to Boston again. Like I said, we were up and like, we definitely were better than 4-4 than we showed.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, and I mean, I guess I'm just saying that because of this event, but this reminds me kind of the old Ultra team in the sense you guys are going to be good enough in hardpoint, good at search and control, and real tough to beat. Like, just going to be super tough to put away. And I know it's a different team.
That's where you can build I mean, everyone said it for years, obviously, the S&D thing. Like, see it with FaZe. You do not win without being good at S&D. It's just how it is. Like, you can be as good as you want at respawn, but if you lose one of them, you can't be consistent at respawn anymore in COD with how it is now. It's just how it is.
It seems like it's search and control now. Like, it's search and control more than like. Yeah. I know hardpoint's 1 and 4, and like hardpoint, players love hardpoint the most, and hardpoint's the first map that sets the tone.
1,000,000% it's the most fun.
Yeah, 100%. But it just feels like maybe I'm just basing it off of like you guys and FaZe and stuff, but just. I swear, if you go back over the wins, Joe talks about all the time. It seems like it's search and control, man, that win tournaments. Like those two.
These are like the only difference. I think these last year.
Yeah.
Like Thieves this year with their second place, they're kind of the one team. who they can ride sort of their respawns. Obviously, they can't do it all the time. Happened to them this weekend, but yeah. Definitely feels like a search of control. I mean, I guess just for you after winning, like, well, on the stage, what the hell is going through your mind? Like, holy shit, did I do this? Like,
I can get my own Xbox.
Yeah.
So right at the end of the control, I was shitting myself. You can see me on like the back yellow truck behind the B point, the big yellow I'm hiding behind that shit, pre-aim in the bottom point, just waiting, like, because they have 4 lives or 5 lives. I'm just not dying. I'm just making sure I don't die, guaranteeing a kill. And then Toby was the only guy that realized we won, because I think he was the only one counting names or whatever, because everyone else is just so, like, zoned in on what's going on. So Toby's the first guy to scream. We're all waiting to see, like, victory or whatever. And then as soon as that happened, it was just insane. Like, obviously, I don't think it will actually ever hit me, like the actual feeling of it, because it's just so crazy how it went down. Like, I don't know. Actually, don't know.
Well, just the story of your past couple years, but just these past couple months, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
the past
one
month
for one, baby. 1 for 1, 100% win rate. Let's get it.
When I got back to the room, I'm retiring. That'll do me. that one will do me.
Dude, I don't know. I didn't know as much about like your career and history and stuff, so it's really cool to hear that. I don't know, I'm just happy for you, dude. Like, I mean, we obviously have some extra love for this Ultra team because we work with Ultra on this, and we've just been closer to that organization. And the previous Ultra team we absolutely love, but just seeing your story and coming in and making that run, it's fucking great, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
So let's go post major. Yeah, let's just talk. After. I guess for you, biggest thing you think the team needs to work on to stay on top? Like, do you guys have I don't know when you guys will start practicing. What, maybe next Monday or something? Like, you guys gonna have some time
probably
off? Yeah. I guess, like, what are you guys looking at to?
I'm a champ. I'll practice when I fucking want to, Joe.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, based off the thing, it's obviously a hard point, but I mean, we just gotta make sure we just stay on top of everything. You see it a lot with teams now when they win and then just to go and have a horrible event afterwards. New York obviously won, then back-to-back top 12 last year. I feel like every time Seattle do well, they have a terrible follow-up major. Like, it just seems to happen to a lot of teams that they win, and then even if they don't realize it, they just do slack off in some way. So we just gotta make sure we don't slack off. We did a lot of S&D prep before, like, obviously because I joined late, so I had no reps with them. So we just gotta make sure we do, like, keep up with all the S&D prep. Stay on top of shit in practice, which we will with Ryan and Joe. They're not gonna let us slip off or whatever. So just carry on with whatever we're doing, and obviously we'll hopefully get a little bit better and clean up a few things.
Well, I think remember kind of what you did to FaZe, like with that search, right? Like, they were you were studying because you're going to play them, but they were also the best search team in the game. Like, you found the gaps. That is now what people are going to be looking at you for. Like, not that you guys weren't, like, watched or respected, but, like, typically how it works is you look at the top team. And so, like, a lot of times that has been like FaZe or something. People are going to be hunting you now, so you gotta stay ahead, bro. And it's tough, bro.
One step ahead.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. Where were we headed, Joe? Who will bounce back?
Yeah,
that's sort of the next thing. Like, all right, are you talking just for?
Yeah, just teams in general.
Teams in general,
yeah, like who you're playing. I guess who do you think? Were you surprised by anyone's result at Major 3? Thieves, yeah, I see. You're scrimming them every day, right? You're scrimming them every day. You know who's
disgusting.
Yes,
they're like one team. After I got settled in, they're like the one team that I was just getting smoked against.
Well, that's what we thought. It started to click for them, and like, they couldn't like scrim properly before the last major because of Kenny's issues. And then Joe and I are thinking, like, I mean, it's them and FaZe coming into this. Like, they're going to be even more prepped. And then I was just like, okay.
So I don't think anyone's bouncing back from that Vegas loss. I'm just being honest. If you're up 206-60 or whatever, you lose that, bro, mentally, I don't give a fuck who you are. Look at this picture. 206-63 and you lose? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else you honestly do. I don't even know how this happened. Like, I feel like Hotel is a map, like, you're gifted some rotations, like, kind of like what we talked about. Like, you can break some of these things, but all the snaking.
Yeah. Do you know what hills it was? Like, do you know which hill it started on? And then they just.
I think it was like I think that 2060-63 was the end of P6, like first rotation. I'm pretty sure.
So they started on a P1 and fair play.
I'm pretty sure.
So they started on P1, probably got blessed with a spot on P2. Flipped out for P3. Oh yeah, I mean that is insane. We didn't get to watch it, but
I mean,
when we saw
even
it,
if you play lazy, like that is difficult. To
oh
do.
yeah,
Like,
that is hard to do.
Difficult. Yeah, I think we were surprised by these. I mean, I think in terms of respawns, these last couple of years that you saw last year, they have such a. I'm sure you guys watch and play against it. Their system is disgusting.
Very, very, very good.
Yeah.
So do you think you can tell me if I'm being an idiot, but like, all right, we're going back to the last major. The last major, you sort of, for them, it's like, we didn't get the scrims in, we didn't have Kenny. It's sort of like, let's go try to win, but we're not putting our best, like there was no pressure like whatsoever. It was just sort of like, here, we got our full team to scrim like a week before.
Mm-hmm.
This one, now listen, I've been back and forth about the online versus LAN thing forever. I've always been someone that says like, I think online versus LAN results are pretty close historically, but this is the first year where I've sort of been like, this shit is just a different game because of like loudness, EQ, and all that type of stuff. It very much is. It's kind of different, but like I also think that if you are a player, I'm worried that FaZe, even like LA Thieves after they lost the match before the major, the LA Thieves account tweeted out like "see you on LAN" with like a wink face, and I feel like if your players. And like Octane's always been one pretty vocal about online stuff. If your players are like thinking in their heads, like, all right, fuck these results, like we'll get the LAN and bop them. And then you go to LAN and get 3-0 stomped off the stage in 20 minutes by FaZe. I'm worried like mentally it's sort of like well, wait a minute. Like to some degree, it's like I get the online issues, but I don't think you can think in your head like, oh, we'll just be fine once we get the LAN, I guess. Because if you do, I just don't think that mentality will work.
Oh no, for sure, and I don't think that's actually how their players are probably thinking. Obviously, everyone hates this online shit right now with the sound EQ, and like even us after the Optic week, the New York and Optic week, obviously went 2-0 there, and we had the week before London, and then LAN obviously flew like the next day or whatever. So we all said like, let's take EQ off for this week of scrims, like get used to it, whatever. And we'll play London without EQ. And then go to the event. We played a day of scrims and just got pissed on. Like it won a map, I think. It wasn't even close. We're all losing our heads. I remember we scrimmed Rocker, and obviously I'm good friends with Ben. So I messaged Ben afterwards, and he was like, "You guys definitely didn't have EQ on, did you?" And I'm like, "No, we just got absolutely smoked." So we had to put it back on because like there's no point scrimming with it if other teams have got it on. Scrimming without it, sorry, if other teams have got it on, because at that point you're not even practicing with how like insane it is. You're actually not even practicing, right? So we had to put it back on, then still lost to London, which obviously wasn't ideal. But no, yeah, the way EQ is right now, like online right now, is a struggle with. I mean, it genuinely just say people are making setups and stuff that are relying on. Like, I'm watching this, but I'm hearing this. Like,
can you explain maybe to people listening, like how ridiculous it is? How far can you actually hear?
Footsteps without EQ are already insane. Like I had quite a few over the weekend on the LAN where I'm like hearing people, like you see on a CeeLo thing right at the end where Hugh tries sneaking around the back on control and like going up towards the cliff, like top mound. And I was like top plat, and I've heard him turn around and kill him in the back. Like you still hear shit without EQ, but for a distance range, like you can genuinely in S&D, if you just sit still, like if you're lobby on hotel, you can hear people running around in like bedroom. Like it's crazy. So like if you, especially for S&D, like you can just get informed based on just where people are, and just play off that.
Yeah, it's still like I haven't like I tested a little bit with Warzone. It doesn't work well with Warzone because there's so many other sounds. There's just too much audio because how it compresses the audio, like it's only like really good when there's not a lot of other sounds, right? Like if there's a ton of gunfire and people calming and shit, like it's mostly when there's like not a lot of audio and you can just it just raises those levels is how I understand it works, and they just it's insane. So I think it'll work for like any mode, but search obviously is where it'll be super wild.
Oh, it's crazy.
There's just way less gunshots and nades and shit going off all the time. But yeah, that's why I think is the first time I've sort of just broken and been like, no, because it's literally a different game they're playing, which is just I don't even know what you do about it, man. Because like,
I mean, there is a way they can. It's what they've done on the LAN PCs. There is a way that they can go into the settings on the PC and just completely disable the settings, so you can't even find it. Which is what they've done with the LAN PCs. But the reason they didn't want to do it with the online ones is because people could technically go in there and like revert it.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I figured.
Yeah, they didn't want a case where some people would go into all the BIOS settings or whatever it is. I don't know where they're saying. It's not like an easily accessible setting. It's like a hard like programming type setting.
But you can fucking Google it. Is really what we're trying to say. Yeah.
So, like, you never know which team. Like some teams are genuinely fine for champs. Like you never know if someone's gonna find a way to turn it back on and stuff. So hopefully they do figure out a way though.
The thing I find like weird is like I kind of knew it existed. I just didn't know that it would like help the way it did with certain things. I mean, now that it does, it kind of makes sense. But like, I just wonder like how long it's been a thing.
Cold War.
Yeah,
I heard about it in Cold War. I think FaZe were the first team that had it because I remember when I joined in Vanguard. Obviously, the rest of the Toronto boys told me that they were using it or whatever, and they said they got it from FaZe in Cold War. But it was never that good. It didn't work anywhere near as well in like that game or Vanguard.
This game, like, we don't need to dive deep into it, but I've worked with like an audio engineer that's helped me fix a lot of what's wrong with this game to make it sound a lot better. And there is just a lot of shit with this game audio wise that is busted as fuck, like literally just coded wrong. So, I'm sure it has added to like how that has worked. And I know they pushed a major audio update with season 2.
There's another one coming, right?
Yes, and there's another one coming, and I don't know if it's going to resolve it, but I think if the audio gets closer to what it should be, hopefully it's not as big of a thing.
Oh, we get Daddy,
yeah.
I did see a thing today saying that they're going to reduce footstep audio, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Usually it's just a little tweak, usually, right? It's like a barely does anything.
I'm just like frustrated enough for you guys that you have to like, you know, you've got to play with no red dots. You've got to play with no Debbie. You got to. It's like part of me likes like certain scenarios of caster because it slows things down a little bit. Like even though it's not like CS, like it kind of slows things down a bit, leads to like crazy moments and all. But like thinking about then being online with the different audio stuff, like I don't know, I'd be in the blender, bro. Like my brain. It just
promotes like a bad way of playing COD. Like you think of the no red dots with the sound. If you just sit a corner on a rotation, like you hear everything, you then get a kill and they don't know where you are. So you just run around in that like area. It's just not good for like just competitive. Just actually a competitive game. It's just not good right now.
Yeah, no, it's that you're not wrong.
I've won the event when it's like that. So
yeah. Dude, I don't know. I mean, this is hopefully some of this stuff gets resolved or with a new game or update or whatever the hell's at the end of the year. We'll wait and see. I know we talked about Thieves a bit, Joe. You want to rewind, talk about like Gorillas a little bit? Because
we can start breaking down everybody else. Thanks for giving all your insights for your run.
Still want to hang out with us, dude?
You still want to hang out with us?
See, it's fun, dude. You're just chatting, COD, and bullshit,
Yeah. We won't take too long on a lot of these, but yeah.
I mean, the only thing with Gorillas I really wanted to touch on, were you guys sort of? I mean, for some of your guys, I imagine just the history of Marky, assuming that ended amicably, which I imagine it did. Like, were you? Dude, our green room when he went up there was literally all on our feet. Oh my god, clapping, bro! Like we were going nuts.
Everyone loves Mark. I don't know what word that you used, amicably. I don't know what that means. First of all,
amicably. Yeah. It's just so that it's more like for Ultra, just like what you were talking about with the Contri situation, just everybody's happy.
It ended in a good way. Like it ended like a nice way. I wasn't sure if it I assumed it did. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so everyone still loves Mark. Like obviously everyone at Ultra, like Ryan's best mates with him, played with him way back when. Same with Joe, good friends with him. Obviously, like Jamie, Toby, been around him ages. I became good friends with him last year. It's like we were warming up a different team when, and we had it on the TV behind us in our PPA room when he was playing, and we heard about obviously Alec not playing, but we just assumed like Sparta or Neptune's filling in, like the two subs as a challengers event next door. Like just go and grab them. And then we turn around and I see MarkyB sat on this picture here. I see him sat there. I'm like, wait, is he just setting up? He's just got to be setting up someone's account, right?
That's what I thought. He was like setting up settings for them. Yeah.
And then we're mid map in the scrim and Ryan comes on the headset and says, Mark's playing. We turn around and Mark is mid map on S&D. I could not believe it. This guy was in kitchen snaking the head glitch. I couldn't believe it.
Dude, it was awesome. I mean, I think everyone feels for like Gorillas in that situation. Like you don't want to lose one of your star players and Alec and whatever leader, whatever he does for that team. Like he's a great player. You lose him, but like I think it just became this like really feel good moment.
Oh
for,
yeah.
like, dude, even like Nameless, like studying all them, like, dude, this just makes it. Dude, I want this chance. Get me up there. Like,
I would have, dude. As much ranked as I've been playing, I would have fucking loved it. Like, give me a map. Give me one map, dude.
Like, I'm in Discord with Mark most nights with like a little group of us, like Mark, Bance, Beans, whatever, like a little group of us. And Mark's in ranked every night asking to play. Like, he loves it. So I was expecting him to be decent. I mean, he went even in the controller. He's gone 13
Control
and
the
13.
Fortress. Yeah.
But S&E did go on 6. I'm not going to excuse that.
That's a tough map 1 too. That's
but he
like
always gassed his S&D throughout his career. He always said he was so good at S&D and then goes on 6. So I'm not going to let that one go.
I talked to him outside afterwards, and he said something was wrong with the settings, I guess. He went through and tried to do stuff quick, but like he didn't get to fix something that was wrong in map 2 till map 3. I can't remember what it was. Something with his controller, but he was like, bro, there was no chance I was getting killed.
Also, doesn't he play with auto attack sprint, I think, right? Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, you gotta let him off for that one.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm running out of time.
I think he played without it though. I think that's what was messing him up. I was like, bro, I'm playing. I'm using it for sure. My old ass is getting up there. I'm playing ATS, no doubt.
Hemlock and just getting nasty.
The team cannot complain about ATS if his coach is filling in.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, weird situation for LAG. You know, he was kind of saying it like it was awesome, but we still lost and we got last. So hopefully this team now can we'll see what happens with them. Another team who really struggled, and I think they played Thieves tough, was Rocker. They're kind of rock bottom, winless throughout the stage. There was a tweet from Brett, who is, let's see the official title he has. Is he like the GM? He's the COO of version 1 in Rocker. Going winless is not acceptable to the players and coaches for us. We expect to bounce back, and we trust the coaches to get us back on track in stage 4. Now, listen, we know about this Rocker lineup. There was all of these. This was not cheap, not a cheap roster to get. But I will say this might be the first time where an executive is like putting like at least publicly, responsibility on like the coaches.
Yeah.
Right? Where normally it's sort of our players are going to bounce back, or this is very much like, hey, Saint and Looney, like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if people are missing practices or people are late, but make sure the guys are locked in.
Well, it was in the little recap videos that they do. I can't remember what it's called, but they just recap each sort of stage or whatever. And it was in there. There was a little talk that they all had about not missing practice, but being a little bit late for practice, saying it would like chalk their first map, play everyone's vibe, whatever would be off, and then something like they'd be 2 maps in and everyone would stop trying or something. So it's definitely doesn't sound good. But I don't know how much of that is the coach's fault. I mean, the players are late. The players are the ones not coming or whatever, not trying. I'm not sure how much you can really say is like, coaches, fix this. Like, what can you do?
Well, with the being on time thing, like I think that's on coaches in some way, whether it's through punishment or fines or whatever you do to get them there. But like, if the team's not vibing mid map, there's not much you can do as a coach. And I don't know. It's interesting because I thought, Joe, if they went there and performed poorly, that team was toast. But like, what's weird about the tweet, like you said, that almost says like, we believe in our players, coaching staff, get them to where we want them. It's sort of how that reads. So I don't know if that'll be able to change or not. But I think one thing, just to link it back to Ultra real quick, like I think Joe and I mean, you wouldn't be in this position if this happened, so sorry. But like at the time, we thought Vanguard was dog shit. We wanted to see this team try to stick it out. Because it was like one of our favorite teams ever. We want to see if they would stick it out. And when they first decided to make the change, I was like, damn, man, I didn't really see that coming. But now with like how the Rocker team's performing and you guys just winning, like, okay, well, I guess all the right decisions were made. Great job.
Yeah. I think Mark wanted the team to stick it out. I think that's one of the reasons that he ended up going, was because he wanted it to obviously to stay again. But I think that's more because Mark kind of just had an attachment to everyone. Obviously,
I feel like I did. For whatever reason, that team just like, I don't know, you wanted to root for him.
They stuck around for a while, so they wanted to stick around. With Rocker, I don't know. I don't know what the issue is.
They had a top 3 the major before.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they almost got to a final.
Usually, like you see a lot in COD where like one event will tie them over for a certain amount of time and give them kind of like an excuse as to like, okay, we'll get back to this this point, but I don't know.
Good for our next topic.
Yeah.
Transition right with that one, Joe.
What, London?
No, oh, sorry. I was thinking New York. Like that. That's kind of what you were.
Yeah, we can get to New York. We start with New York. Well, London. Yeah, I mean, London. Like the only London. The only thing we'll touch on. I mean, I think they look better. This roster definitely got better throughout the stage. They're probably kicking themselves because they're thinking, hell, maybe we could have gone on a run like Optic did if we win that match. Almost took down Optic. There's rumors now again of maybe Paul will get dropped. We don't really know, but it feels like for the most part, the core is starting to figure things out for London. It's just a question of is it too late? But they need a couple of big stages here.
Yeah, I mean they're what are they on 50 points and then Rokk is on 110?
Yes. Yeah. AC 110.
I mean, 2 stages they've got to do really, really well. They are definitely way better than did they get top 12?
Yes.
Yeah, they are definitely way better than top 12. Just obviously they beat us in the game and then scrimming against them, whatever. They are definitely like a top 8 team right now. I think a large bit of that is Nasty on the flex rather than a sub. Everyone knew this from EU challenges. Everyone knew this back from Cold War when he had like MW, Black Ops 4. He was the flex player and he was disgusting. And we all kind of thought that's what he was going to be when he joined London, but instead they kept. Obviously they got Joey Gizmo, kept Trey, and then they had him on a sub. He was really good on a sub as well. Obviously, like he stuck around.
Him and Trey too switched a good amount in Vanguard, right? Yeah. That was he had moments with an AR for sure.
Yeah, but everyone has known for a while, and I think he's probably realizing now that he is 1,000,000% just more suited to a flex player, just an AR. He's played a lot better this. Yeah, he's played a lot better this stage with it. So
yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the London team. Yeah, this is an interesting one, New York. I think we talked about it on the podcast last week. We kind of said, okay, you had a really rough travel day. Yeah. Maybe, you don't get scrims in, whatever. We'll let kind of Major 2 go. And we said, all right, let's show up here. But they lose to you guys and they lose to Florida. They were 1-3 in Hardpoint, 0-2 in Search and Destroy. It's kind of a question of, Maven and I were talking about this.
Well, it's what he just said. That's why I was going to come here. Like, is that one win, did that buy you time type thing? Like,
yeah, but is it a thing of does the roster just stick together because, hey, we won Major 1? Or is it, and they stick the whole year out because of that win? And we've seen that in the past where they're like, no, we can do this again. We can do this again. We can do this again. Yeah. And then by the end of the year, it's kind of like, shit, we should have made a roster change. So I'm curious what the conversations are like on that side. Like, if they really feel they are still one of the best teams, or they need something else.
Yeah, I mean, what did they go in the qualifier games? 3-2.
3-2. That's like been there on. That's what they've done like every stage.
Yeah, so they're still clearly not like. I mean, I feel like they're still more or less at the same level. They were definitely ahead Major 1. Everyone kind of said it about the pacing, right? Like they had way quicker pacing as a 4 than everyone else. So I think they were just ahead there. Major 2, yeah, you can like tie it down to the travel day, yeah. And then this one, obviously they lost to us, so like that is what it is. And they'll say like they lost to the winner, but the Florida game is one that you just can't afford to lose. Like I think they came back on Hotel, Hardpoint. And then a team like Florida is always going to be good at SD with like Colt, Capsule. So you just can't really afford to lose map 1 because more likely than not you're down 2-0, and then it's difficult from that point to bounce back.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. They actually won both Hardpoints. They won both Hardpoints, Florida over New York. So.
Yeah, I mean that's just that can't happen with that team.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like I feel like for me, who's not the expert compared to you two, like the roles like make good enough sense to me in the sense you have Hydra who's more that like slaying sub, you have Kismu who's gonna bash his head through a wall, you have Skies who needs to get his kills, and Priest who will do whatever you need him to do. Like I feel like it should work.
I think it's a very similar build to ours in terms of the 4 players.
That's what literally I was gonna say next. Like I feel like it's built well. I just don't. I mean, the sub role is definitely a bit different in the sense like Hydra's not Kleenex when it comes to the actual pace and pressure he applies on the map. He is, I don't know. He plays more like Scump maybe. I don't know what to.
He's a slower find kills. Sub rather than just a run at your find kills. Sub,
yeah, it's like a Seth is what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh, like a simp.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, but like Simp's a little different just because I don't know. I think Simp's just talking about Call of Duty is one of the smarter players to ever play the game. So that guy's
Well,
that
you don't
guy's a
speak
fucking
French,
freak.
so you don't speak French.
Yeah, true. Hyder could be the smartest player of all time, but you know how I view Simp. But I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like it should work. It's just
No, it definitely should.
Doesn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you're playing against them all the time. I'm sure practice versus them is always a good competition.
Oh yeah, going off practice, you wouldn't have thought they'd come top 12. Yeah, I feel like there's quite a few. Again, Thieves, like I said, they were beating us like consistently. I don't know. You can just have off days in COD and whatever else.
Yeah, a couple off days, and this is what happens. We'll see if they bounce back. What? LA Thieves, we kind of talked about. I think the big thing is that winners round 1 matchup was tough. I would say Thieves normally, once they win a match, they seem to get going. Like even champs last year versus Boston, they won a winners round 1 and a game 5 round 11. Like they've had some close starting matches, and then it really feels like the engine turns up. But they were outslayed by 53 over 3 maps first phase.
Jesus.
Draza, I mean the highest stat line they have is Octane at a 0.84. Draza was a 0.55. I think the worst match I've seen from him ever. The other two were like 0.7. So they just kind of got cooked. And yeah, like I said, I don't think you bounce back from that comeback versus Legion. And then moving on to Legion. Much needed wins for them. I think this is a good showing. 2 Real really had a good hardpoint. I mean, they were 4-1 in hardpoint, 2-1 in search and destroy. Their control is still a big problem. They were 0-3 in control at the event, and they're 5-19 on the year on control. So this map 3 is kind of haunting them. But we'll see. I think the question for them is just like, can they start in a winner's bracket and not have to worry about sort of a tough schedule?
But it's like if you're going to start in losers, like you need to just get some points at this point, right? Like you put just the wins are big, like that is the biggest thing here. Like even if you're starting in losers, you need to get your 10 points a couple of times. And like they're now at what? They're like 20 back a Rocker. 20, and with the way Rocker's playing and Legion playing, you feel pretty good to put a little separation from them over some of the other teams. So like, listen, I know maybe they didn't get as far as they wanted to, or like they thought they could have gone further, but fuck yeah, like you needed those points. Like that tournament overall is a win when you're looking about like the overall year in champs. I mean, you got some points.
Yeah, no doubt. They're another one. They're like they can easily make a deep run just purely off like their S&D. I mean, their hardpoint was really good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Like even in the we warmed them up as well. And again, like their hardpoint was pretty good in the warm ups. But yeah, that control, like we see it a lot more now. Everyone thinks it's because it's the one map mode like thing, so people think it's not as important. But you see it a lot where the team that wins the control quite often wins.
Bro, it's going back to Cold War,
what the reason is for that.
It's crazy. I think it's a veto thing, right? Because usually with your hard points and your searches, at the tippity top, it's pretty hard to steal one of your others. Like I just look back to like the old Ultra phase in Cold War. Like we saw it a lot where they would win their hard point, the other team would win search and control. Like if you look at the major winners in their control record, it's usually 80 to 90%. I think the only one that's not was LAG in Major 2 last year, but they had like a 90% S&D win rate. So yeah, that's the one thing for me. I'm like, that's got to be better. It's just got to be.
They got to figure. I mean, they lost to MarkyB. They've got to figure something out of control.
Yeah, that's not good. That's a good point. Yeah, it's not good.
It's
just this weird like.
Even though it's Fortress, you gotta win that. You can't give up an offensive round win.
You cannot lose a D to MarkyB.
I get it. It's just like it just feels like no one wants to play it. And it's just this gamble pick, and it's made like control kind of weird this year. Like I know teams have been consistent in control, but it's just like,
hey, maybe a new map.
If we ban their good map, are they gonna pick our good map? Probably not. Guess we're going there. Like it's just sort of like
we have the kind of best situation where we just ban Fortress and we're just really good at the other two. That's just like the best.
So that is what that would be. If all the teams could do that, we'd be in a great spot. then we wouldn't have to deal with it much. But like a lot of teams just aren't. They're not at that point. So you just.
I also think a lot. I'll be honest. I think a lot of teams know it's a gamble and just say fuck it.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. The team that feel like they're worse is obviously if it's open, they're going to take it. Like it's the map that you can take away from like the other team.
The Optic fans were booing it. I'm like, motherfuckers, you picked this.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. Like, I mean, it doesn't change the fact it's bad, but like, we didn't have to go there. There was another option.
Yeah. Update tomorrow. Update tomorrow. New map. Maybe a little control testing. We'll see. Hopefully, that'll be good.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, the map actually, it looks a lot like. Oh, where's the picture of it? I had a picture of it.
It's like
snowy.
It's like a cabin, like a log
It looks
cabin
a lot
in the
like
snow.
the map on Black Ops 3, the one
That's
with
what I was thinking of when you said snow.
Stronghold.
Yeah,
Stronghold.
yeah. It looks like the house that's in there and stuff. It looks very similar to Stronghold.
Okay.
So
Well,
hopefully
so.
it's like Stronghold.
Well, what got added late last year that made control way more intense? Berlin, right? They got added
Berlin
late.
spawns got fixed. Yeah.
Is that what it was?
On it.
And then obviously Cold
'cause that-
War raid getting added was huge for Cold War. It happens quite a lot.
Yeah, so hopefully we get one more added and sort of solves this map no one wants to watch or play.
I think they tried Embassy, but the spawns on that map are just way too messed up for control.
If only we could have someone just fix them. Oh,
I know,
damn.
crazy. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Joe's done it. Joe's literally gone in and be like, put them here.
I've said once I finish playing, I'm going fixing COD. I'm using my degree. I'm going fixing COD.
Oh, did you actually? I didn't realize. Did you finish school?
Yeah, I got a game design degree.
Oh, high five, guys! 3 college graduates. Yeah, let's go. High
Holy
five.
shit, dude!
Great
Okay, but he's got a game design degree.
I could actually program and develop games. I could fix COD.
Okay.
Well, not
holy.
But back then I would have forgot it. So I just want to do what Ray did. I don't know if you did it. I want to do what Ray did, where he just goes and tells people what to do.
Yeah,
Ray, I think he was in World War II, right? Ray was the guy who was just the voice between the two.
No, I literally this is back when I worked for like the league, like MLG, whatever the hell you want to call it. I literally just took pictures of the map and I drew squares where the spawn should be. Yes, and I
fix. I'm like that. He shouldn't be there. Move him there.
Correct. That's what I did. I moved bomb sites and spawns in Infinite Warfare. Me and Mud Dog made that game playable.
We don't have the technology now in 2023, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's impossible.
It's a shame.
Hey, unlucky. Okay, so Legion, seems like they're turning around. We'll see if they can keep it up. Surge, they finished top 6 as well. I mean, fuck.
One map off though. One round, sorry.
Yeah.
One round away from beating FaZe.
One hip fire. Steady kill.
He's seen that's in his. There's no way he had a night of sleep without seeing that in his dreams. There's no shot.
So we walked on after that game, right? And I was waiting backstage, obviously waiting to go on the stage. And Pred walks past. Obviously, he has no idea how he's just died. Because I knew, like, if he had an idea how he's just died, he's reacting in a much different way than he did it. He just walked off stage like, oh, fuck. Like, if he knew how he died in that moment, he is punching something.
Full hip fire.
I'm sure he did. They almost beat FaZe. They beat FaZe. They might win this event. I mean, we don't know. That's the way team. That's the way this team kind of is. They still had struggles. 1-4 in search over the week. Obviously, that one you can kind of star. But that was kind of the big discussion. And qualifiers, it looked to be better, but at the LAN, it's still sort of a thorn in their side. We'll see if they can turn that around. I mean, Pred just had another
crazy,
disgusting event.
But unfortunately, the guy on the receiving end of that knife, like at least some of the maps where they needed like we've always said with him, like that X Factor guy. If he's playing well, it elevates this team. I thought Lamar actually played really well in a bunch of spots. Like he was doing great. Sib had his moments 100%. Pred's fucking insane, but Mac just didn't hit that tournament form he does sometimes, where he's like, I'm going to be the best player here. I don't know why it hits. He just is disgusting at times.
Yeah.
And it's not all on him, but like this team, I think, is a little dependent on it sometimes. Like it's just...
I think after the FaZe one, I mean that's pretty tough. Then they had to go and play Optic in front of the home crowds. Is that when they get 100-point clubbed by Optic? I think so, right? Like
the map 1 or whatever.
Map 4. Okay, so they lose Hydro. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It feels like they just couldn't bounce back from that round 11. I don't even blame them. I really don't. It felt like they put their all into that match, and I'm sure it's just tough to bounce back from pretty quickly. But still a very good team, a competitive team. And we'll see what happens again. I just feel like Pred though is just insane. I mean, his series versus FaZe, he has a 1.29. He's plus 25 over the series. Guy's gross. The guy's nuts.
I've been saying this for a while. And it's not just Pred. There's a lot of players like it, but I genuinely, if I tried to kill her as much as possible, I couldn't play like this. Like, I don't understand how people find like this. Have a knack for like finding kills on the map. Hydra's another one. Hydra, Pred. I mean, they might be the only two that just have like a crazy knack of just finding kills without being like super quick players. They just find free kills, and obviously it's a lot of gun skill as well. Don't get me wrong, they're not just finding free kills, but I genuinely just don't understand how they do it sometimes.
I think Seth was kind of the same way, where like, but like he wasn't this crazy fast player, but like he knew where to be, like Scump, and he knew where to kind of slow down, and like you were just kind of like piss off the enemy team. Like
you see
so many Seth's clips, like he's just L triggers, just like like four.
That's a lot of what Pred does as well. He's L triggered, finds a free kill, someone running at him, and then like repositions, finds another free kill. He's very good. It's
knowing those spots. I think those guys are really, really good at that. Like knowing when it's free.
Yeah,
it's that, and it's also like, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I feel like Hicksy, you know, in your role, you're a smart player. You think about stuff a lot, and like I just feel like they know where to be and everything, but it's just like, I don't know, it's like a instinct thing, man. They just get in a groove. Like you see it with somebody like Shotzzy too. Like they're just in this fucking groove where like all their timings are hitting, they are flowing, and I don't know. It's just when you watch it just seems like
I do think though some of these guys do like. I know if I get to this spot, like I'm gonna get 3 kills.
Oh no! I'm not like saying their brain shuts off and they're closing their eyes and getting kills. But I mean,
I've done that before. I've been that twisted.
It's just like I don't know. You get in this like you just feel you like, dude. When you're in the blender, it's tough to get back to like just this like good feel of the map. And I just feel like those guys are
when
you're really finding
it in like flow state and you're just flying around and everything feels like it's working. And but they must have that way more than I do.
I think they kind of just do. Like they just at least. I didn't compete as a pro, but it seems to me like they just find that easier, like that. I don't know, man.
It also ties in as well. I think there's a stat about it. Well, I know the def is with the breaking point thing. Like they don't have hill time. I mean, it's because there are a lot of times. So it usually ties in. If you're in hill, sometimes you'll just be last alive. 3 people running at you, you're dead. But like you see it a lot with Pred, where you'll have 15 seconds after a map. It's because he's pushed out on the cut, getting 2-3 people running at him off spawn. Like, but I mean, someone's got to do it. So, and he does it well.
That's weird. It wasn't like phases. Like, didn't like Abizi and Simp lead in like hill time a lot? I was like, what?
Yeah.
I have to go look through it, but I thought that was like odd, just considering kind of this game title and stuff. But yeah, Surge. I mean, I don't know. This team is fun to watch, dude. They have like them versus FaZe, and some of their matchups are like insane. They're so fun to watch. So I imagine they'll keep entertaining us until contracts are up, and then we'll see. For Breach, dude, Beans, bro, I fucking love Beans.
This is my boy.
Yeah,
it's your guy, huh?
I love him, bro.
I've known since MW. Do you remember the 2v2 speedballs that a lot of people played?
Yeah, MW19. Yeah.
Always me, Ben, like Harry and Gizmo, like the 4 that we just be on every night. Spoke to him every day since. Basically, we have a little group chat. Me, Harry, Ben, Gizmo. And obviously, all 4 of us have made it to least since then. So that's a nice little group. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, he's my guy. I love him.
Oh, I mean, he obviously, I think very similar to you, kind of what we talked about, like kind of just fitting into like a team that already is in a pretty good spot. It's not a team that's struggling, but they were looking for a little extra oomph. And I think you saw signs of it. Obviously, that map 2 versus Optic, 17 kills.
Whole series 1.5 or something like.
Yeah, and I think someone talked about it either on broadcast or maybe it was the green room, but these 3 guys are pretty laid back and chill, and it kind of feels like they need someone to bring out some passion, some confidence, and he seems to be that guy for them. Like, I don't know, if you have your teammate going fucking nuts, like you follow that up usually.
You were saying it. So the last online game against Steve, I think they played Thieves, right? The last online game. I think it was that match where Nero was like 21-9 on controller. It might have even been the first game at LAN against Optic. It was some control sealer where Nero was going crazy, and Ben was saying that he was just screaming every time Nero did, because Nero just doesn't scream. So Ben was just saying every time Nero gets a 2-piece, he's just screaming for him. Like, he just brings a different level of energy that, I mean, I've seen it all through challenges. I played against him twice on LAN again in challenges, and every single time he's screaming at me and whatever. But I mean,
what was like weird, and like I know Thursday is not the same as Sunday, but like just from from like a gameplay standpoint, but even take the gameplay out of it, like every time day one, it's easier to do this when you're winning, obviously, but like they'd go in between rounds or he'd be on camera and like you kind of see the energy was there. He was barking at the guys, like talking. That seemed to be kind of like gone Sunday. And I didn't know if it was like a crowd thing, an energy thing, but like it felt like that confidence and aggression and passion just was like thwarted. And I didn't know if it was.
I don't think it's the crowd, obviously he gave it to him on the day one, right? Where he was shushing them and whatever, doing that whole thing.
I don't either, but then what, like, at least
I think
it
it's
seemed
just
different to me.
Just completely, like, they got clubbed right.
Yeah, but then they won. Yeah, but then they won map 2. Like they bounced back from it.
No, when they won the SD, I thought they were going to win the series from now. I was like, as long as they just tie it up here. But
even if you go back, if you go back and look, like Awakening was in some spots where like normally where he's taking gunfights, he wasn't.
Series, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe that was it. You could just kind of tell they were losing some gunfights, and then deeper as the series went on, they were almost like afraid to peak, especially Awakening, because that guy, I mean, he's usually like a walking 1.2, but he had a really rough
similar.
one.
I feel like they're both quite kill heavy, like Chal heavy ARs. They're not really. Like, we have Jamie, obviously, who's. I think Jamie might be the anomaly main AR, who is like the one who just makes other plays on the map that aren't kill based. I guess you could maybe Sasha does as well. I don't really know too well, but
probably,
yeah. Most ARs in general are just quite Chal heavy. Like we have Scrappers who's that exact player, like just Chal's everything and just wins 60-70% of his gunfights.
And Ghosty now too with Optic. I mean, sort of. But yeah, you're not wrong. Where
Awakening and Ben, I feel like are very similar.
It's just like, you know, when you play like that and you're losing a lot of them because Optic's hot,
it's
and it just slowly chips away at your confidence probably to the point you're like, I imagine that's probably what it is. When you want to play like that, it's always going to be like 0 or 100 to some degree with regards to like energy and stuff, because you get into that rhythm, you get into that flow, you're challenged, you're shitting on somebody, you're yelling across the stage, or you're just losing that gunfight over and over again. And it's like,
And Ben had that consistency in challenges, so I'm sure he will find it at some point in the Pro League. He's still, I mean, he joined basically the same time as me, right? Like one game before me, so.
I mean, listen, I'll take a top 4 your first event, right? With the squad. I'm excited to watch this team.
Yeah, I'm sure if you asked him before the event, he'd say I'd take a top 4.
Yeah. We'll see how they continue to develop, but it should be a really fun team. I think they're good in all 3 game modes, showed promise there. You know, took you guys to a game 5. You guys had a clutch on up.
They should have been up 2-0.
Good match. Should have, could have, would have, but at least you won the event.
True.
Yeah. FaZe. They get to this spot again, another top 3. I mean, who knows how many in a row that is, or what their average placing is. Just they're there Sunday. You expect them to be there, and they do it again. But kind of the same issues come out on Sunday.
It's respawns.
Yeah, the respawns, and it's respawns while outslaying teams, while outslaying Ultra. And then what? They were 3 and 4 in Hardpoint, 1 and 3 in Control on the weekends. All the maps, or all the Control maps they played were Hotel over the weekend. So it's, you know, do you throw something else in there like an Asilo? You might have to. Just the way Hotel is, like, I know it's kind of the best Control map, but it's also a map where if you go 4 dead, they cap, right? Like it can be tough. It can be out of your hands sometimes. It's tough to always kind of control that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is with Optic. This was a team that used to dominate Optic, and then last year, starting with Major 1,
Chelsea just keeps having the
they just have these guys
plus 30 or something, bro.
They are destroying these guys.
He has a 1.5 every time against FaZe. Ryan said it before the series in the back room. He was like, Optic are winning, and Shotzi's having another 1.5, and he did. Like he just keeps happening against FaZe. I don't know why.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't get it.
No, it doesn't make sense, because like you look at the final where you'd say me and Toby is an easier sub duo to handle than Simp and Beezy. I'd say that like comfortably. Simp and Beezy, like there's 2 of them. Like but instead he has a 1.5 against them and like a 0.85 against Studs. So I don't know if it's the way they play is obviously quite Chal heavy. Like Simp and Beezy will take gunfights and shots. He just like feeds off that, I guess.
How Optic wants to play, like they want to play like that, and that's why like I think it's frustrating to watch FaZe sometimes, because I think just for, you know, we're really close to Crowd of the coach, and we probably watch more of their gameplay than anyone over the years, just because when we were like the 2 main casters, we were just casting FaZe fucking constantly. We were watching their scrims constantly, learn the game. And it's just frustrating because, like, I know they're not dumb players. Like, I just from conversations, like, I know there are some very high IQ players on the team and very skilled players. And I'm just like, why does it just these moments? It's just like, it's just,
yeah.
it's just like,
I don't know about the Optic game, but the one against us, the moment I can remember is the Mikado, the map 4. And it was the very last P4 hill. I don't know if you remember. Celium got a nade kill and then went into the bottom house and shot somebody else back alley. And it was just Toby alive in the hill. And the rest was spawned like deep.
Wait,
like,
you talking about when they had to run over from like, when they had to run back to Barber and you had like one that spawned mid and kind of cut them off? Are you talking about into the game?
It was just before that. Yeah. It was the end of the game, but it was just before that. But Celium basically, they got 3 dead last guy hill, and Celium was on the house stairs, to go towards the top house. Barber, well, not Barber, what do you call it?
Cantina, whatever, green, whatever you want to call it.
He's on the stairs there, and in my opinion, in that situation, you should just hit the hill. He should just hit the hill. Like, his teammates coming from the other side, like, I think one of them was pinching hill. If he just guarantees that kill in hill, they need 10 seconds or something. Just guarantee the kid in hill. Your teammates can fill everything else, but instead he stays out house. The guy in hill just stays alive. Scrap gets the cut-off kills. I kill him house. Like, there's just little misplays like that where, like, no one's doubting that Selim's a crazy player and, like, one of the most intelligent COD players, but, like, a situation like that is where you don't play COD, like, not correctly, but you know what I mean? Like, the way that you probably should normally.
Like,
they overthink it. Yeah, instead of just like,
just
like
get the kid out of the hard point. Just get him out the hill. Let everyone else feel what happens afterwards. But like, just like that situation there. When I watched it back, I was thinking like that's just such a bad misplay that. And then at that point, they go game 5, and who knows like what the chances would be them in 2 SNDs in a series. Like,
well, I've noticed that before, like late in hard points when they're close with teams, that like just in general, sometimes Excel's a good example of it because you know how he is, but like. Just playing their lives in general when it's like not that moment, it's not time to play, it's not playing lives time, it's hitting shit time,
and just
it's hitting shit time.
Fucking trade.
They had the same thing happen. They lose a 20-point Mercado to Optic. You know, seems that map in hotel control really hurt them. We'll see if they could kind of fix that. And I mean, of course they take the challenge of playing Optic on Fortress, but Optic was just hot. I mean, they 100-point clubbed them as well.
Because then we knew that we shouldn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, you're FaZe. You're thinking, yeah, fuck it. Like we know who's on our team. We're gonna take that challenge.
FaZe are really good at that map, so I don't blame them for doing it.
Real quick, back to the moment I was talking about. I was curious because like even Abizi kind of asked me afterwards when they had like the closer spawn to Barber. It was like a quick sprint. Where? Because you guys spawned out pretty far. Did Scrap get like a closer spawn, or was he first up to get like the mid cutoff? Because if he didn't get there to put shots in them trying to cross, they won the game.
I actually cannot remember.
Yeah, he like got to like, I guess like the mid heady where you could like look over the cars as they sprinted to Barber, and he just made Simp turn in Chow. He like got 1 kill. If like he didn't get there in time, the game's done. Done.
I'm gonna look at it now. I feel like he might have spawned BS&D still like the usual spawn like deep street, but then. I think he was just dead a little while early, so he just got the time to run.
That's what I wasn't sure of, is he had time to run there or if he just got like a closer spawn. But they were not ready for that. They were all booking it to the point like they got blessed with the spawn and then
Oh no, he does spawn deep. He spawns deep. Yeah, I'm just watching the time when Celium should have hit hill. But yeah, he just ran at middle and then the misplay was just Celium. If Celium just hits hill, they need 10 seconds to get the kill. And then because he didn't do that, then Scrap's in the position to get them again off spawn. Okay. But yeah, that was a big 2 because Sashi killed 2. I'm not sure how he kills Toby out hill, but kills Toby out hill, kills another one, and Scrap gets that 2. If he doesn't get those 2, we're probably lost. And the spawns are just a complete fuck fest.
Yeah, they just sort of sprinted across and won the game. But then like he just, I remember he got to the heady and just put shots into them on the cross.
Scrap said this today at content. I think he might be right. I think when it's a close game, the game just says fuck it and just makes it an absolute war. I think it just says like all reason goes out the window and they just give every single spawn possible and just let whatever happens happen.
No, because then they start spawning like garage. Like you guys start spawning like one spawns like garage or whatever you call it over there, right? Like back parking lot.
Took 5 steps, then we spawn there. Yeah, and then they spawned crazy. It was just and if we don't get those spawns, we do not win at all. Because I was in hill alone, and then 2 of them were out me, but we shoot one in the back, and it was insane ending to a hard point. I don't even remember what we were talking about. FaZe, that was it.
Yeah, no, that was just I just remember like watching it and be like, I remember them just popping and thinking they had it. I'm like, oh, they can sprint across, and that is not how it went. But
Yeah.
yeah, FaZe. I mean, I guess one thing that I think will be, they had their issues last year, which we don't need to dive into everything, but like I think Austin is, I mean, he'll tweet out his excuses or whatever, but he is definitely like a back to lab type person, wants to improve, knows how to play the game. Like I think it's when they lose, I think it'll be very important to this team. They just gotta not do what they did last year, where some people kind of checked out. Just keep trying to improve and get back to it, and they'll be all right.
I think last year was easy
they
to
have
check out.
Surge. And they have their Surge to rely on right now. I mean,
Yeah.
2 losses on LAN. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
In a couple of plays in these hard points that are the difference makers. I mean, that's what we were talking about, with AC earlier. Like it's just a couple of plays. They have to define those moments and figure out those moments and fix them. So, yeah, well, I assume FaZe will be they'll be around. They will be around. Now on to Optic. I mean, Jesus, the first couple of days was disgusting. They were, I mean, the London match was not good. We casted it, and I looked at
should have lost.
I looked at Maven afterwards, and I said, "Holy shit, they are bad." Like I did, I did. I was like,
they looked bad. Yeah.
They were hitting scrap time on Mercado. They were doing a lot. Like they just looked.
It wasn't after
so
the cast.
off.
I think at one point mid cast, you looked at me in mouth. It's just I like how they went from that to. I mean, I guess I expected really low floor, really high ceiling with this team. It's what I kind of thought, but you saw it like quick. Like you saw the worst of it, where I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, what are they doing? To then like, oh, they've won 9 hard points in a row. Okay.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense at all. Because I watched the London game, and London 1,000,000% should have won. They're 3 kills off, I think, on the Mercado hard point from winning, and just couldn't close it out. But yeah, I did not expect a deep run after that at all.
Even the searches, they were down like 4-1, game 5 or 3-1. I don't know.
It was 3-0. No, it was 3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, listen, I think one of the big thing was probably map pool. They figured out, especially the control. We got rid of that. And they really locked in on Hydra. I think Hydra hardpoint was key for them throughout the weekend until they played you guys, and Fortress hardpoint was key for them. Those were the 2 maps that really started to lead the way. They've been a great Mercado team. They stayed a great Mercado team. They clutched up in a lot of those Mercado hardpoints, even against London. Against FaZe, that's what kind of got them there. But I think figuring out their map pool was really important for this roster. And yeah, they got into a good spot. Even Hotel Search and Destroy, which they didn't play throughout the year, they just picked up this weekend, started playing for that. But yeah, I think Ghosty got some confidence under his belt. He looked shook. He looked really shook. I mean, I think, we talk about having the crowd on your side, but your first tournament with the crowd on your side?
I said this. I think that's a negative, being your first tournament being under Optic for the crowd. Like, obviously, people say I would much rather go against the crowd than have it with me personally, based on what I've had so far, because there's no, like, you're not going to get grief off them when you lose. Like, if Ghosty would have lost early, the amount of stick he would have got on Twitter and with the crowd over, like the amount of pressure that adds having that many people there supporting you rather than being against you. Like being against you just feed off it. Being for you, I feel like it's like just added pressure.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Yeah, and I think what led up to that was sort of their qualifier, right? Because he didn't have the best qualifier, and his Twitter feed was probably already on fire, right? I mean,
awful. I can't even imagine. Mine wasn't
I couldn't
great.
imagine. Again, it was with Illy. They had a top 4, but yeah, it seems like it's worked out. He got very comfortable. He improved, kind of like what you said with Insight. This isn't a guy. They have enough star power on this team. I think if Hook can find a little bit more consistency, because him and Shotzi, you probably know playing against him. I don't think they're like Simp and Abizi. I don't think they're like your standard sub duo. They are just it seems like they are a wild sub duo to play against. They just kind of both go.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Really know. I don't think they do either. I don't think they do either some of the times. But when they get fucking hot, like, they just kill everything. But yeah, I think I think for everyone, it's just a question of can they do it again?
Yeah, I feel
know
like
it's a really tough league.
Yeah, with the way like the sub duo there, if they're killing people, it's gonna look like that, where it's really, really good. If they're not killing people, and Shotzi's not gonna play like that every single time. He will a lot because it's Shotzi, but like when he doesn't play like that, I feel like it's gonna look really bad, which is what like the London game.
Yeah, I mean, even versus you guys, what Shotzi has, probably the worst KD on the team. Yeah, he does. They all struggled versus you guys besides Dashy. And, big props to Big Bruce. He kind of was put into the captain's chair for the team, and the guy is, bro. I don't know. Watching his point of view, sometimes it's like he has like an M8, like he just like shoots 4 bullets and he knows it's a kill.
Everyone's like, give me the build, like in the green room.
It was just like 4 bullets, boom. It was just like, that's just him. But I think the league, just in general, what we have had 6 different teams in finals
6
now
different
this
year. Yeah, that's a bit wild.
And Maven and I were talking about this. Could be game side for sure, but I think it's also just props to the the players and the teams.
Yeah,
everyone is taking this competition to another level.
I think this also shows we need expansion though, because it's obviously really, really good having this many teams that can win, but there's genuinely, you've got the 6 already that have been in finals. You can add Rocker in when they're like, I mean, they didn't make the final, but you never know with them. You could genuinely say there's 7, 8 teams that could make a final, and you wouldn't be that shocked. And like, if there's 8 out of 12 or 7 out of 12, like that's a little bit too
I like that. Oh, I like that. I guess I worry. I worry if you add 4, you're adding 4 teams that are getting shit on. Is what I always worry. And maybe not the 4 teams that join, but it's 4.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think it's realistic to have more than 66% of the league be competitive. I just don't know. Just in any major sport, like.
I'm probably just saying this just because I want my boys to get in.
Like, I hear you. I want a Spanish team. I want a Germany team. I want more European teams. But
you could easily get a Spanish team that are better than some of these teams in right now. You could get like my boys again, like I said, like a few of the EU players, Harry, Steve,
get his boys in.
Yeah, you could get my boys in, but like, and they wouldn't be the worst team. They would be competing with these teams. Like, so I just think the more, and also for the format, if you get 16 teams, you get another 4 added. 16 teams means we could just have 4 groups of 4 again, like it was back in groups however many years ago. Like,
I'm down. I'm in.
Groups are just way better than how it is right now.
Or I mean, I don't know if they could do that, because I'm assuming it just kind of defeats the purpose of the league in a way. Like, the league is kind of to seed stuff, but you could at least do a double elimination bracket where people aren't starting in fucking losers. Like, You could at least do that. I don't know, group play. I don't know how much sense it makes unless there's like open teams coming in. Even though I'd love it, it's more COD, but it's like, what's the point of the fucking league matches?
Yeah, true.
But,
I agree with you. I'm down. I'm down for some more teams.
I weirdly am too, but I guess it's just, well, we're not casting online leagues. Like I said, I don't give a shit. But like, I just remember back to when I was casting online league with like 16 teams or more with some of the old like league formats, and like I was just casting people get shit on, just constantly.
But, it is different though. There's a lot of talent down there.
Yeah, you're right. And like, I don't know. I just feel like it's natural for like any league to expand at some point, and I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. I don't know when, but I'm sure it'll happen. I just would like it solely for not having people start losers, because I just think it's stupid as shit.
No, yeah. I'm not looking forward to that if it ever happens.
Not a good time. All right, let's go to, we had some community questions as we wrap up here.
I just grabbed a couple I saw. Like,
okay. On the Toronto Ultra Twitter. So if you want to add community questions, nice episode, make sure to follow them. This guy Osnex wants to know, how checked were you when Krim introduced them with night vision goggles on?
Hey, I don't know if you two know what the intro was supposed to be. Do I actually know?
No, I just saw the lights
go out. He had his own video, right? Didn't he?
I think he was supposed to, and he just didn't. Yeah. It didn't come up.
No, I think he just walked out there. He just didn't care.
So there was no video. He did the normal thing, like just said our 4 names. We walked out. No one even like thought anything of it. And then at the party that night, he was like, he came up to like, sorry guys, I completely fucked that up. Like, what are you on about? Like, it was just standard. But yeah, apparently you're supposed to have a whole big thing happen, but we had no idea.
Yeah, he had like a WWE style video made, like they shot for him. I heard about this.
Yeah, we
just blacked out. He just blacked out and walked out there and took the microphone away from Lando.
No way.
Lando was like, okay.
Fair enough.
I had no idea. I thought it was just sort of like he was setting up as like the devil and Seth was going to come out as God. Like that's what I sort of thought it was.
Seth was there as well. Seth was at the back as well. So yeah, that's why I thought Crim was going to go out and then Scump was going to do the.
Yeah. Even though it was fucked up, it sort of made sense to me in the sense of like he was going to come out and like kind of piss off the crowd and get them going, and then Seth was going to walk out and be like, "Hey guys," everyone cheered. I had no idea that it missed like a whole video and it all went down incorrectly. I have a question. So it's from Liam Cleod 22. With your insane record already with Scrap in regards to 5 lands, 5 wins, do you see you two as a duo that can stay together for a while and compete together like a Simp and a BZ? I guess I just want to know, do you like even view yourselves like as a duo sort of because of the history or not?
Yeah, I mean, we said we were the duo last year because obviously we lived together in Toronto and we were both signed. He was a fucking pain to live with, by the way. Holy shit.
I believe that.
Why?
God, so he came in maybe March, right? And it wasn't. I was already in a 2-bed apartment, so we just got the other bed. And like you know how like he's just like naturally just has energy, like just from nowhere. I'm the complete opposite. If I'm not playing, I'm just chilling. I'm watching TV or something, or like on myself watching videos. He would just come flying through the door. I mean, like shoulder barging my door down, and just be like, "What's good?" Every day, every single day. I'm just chilling, and the door would come flying open, and I'm like, "Yo, what's good?" And he just asked so many questions over and over and over again, just being annoying.
Well, and did you live with other people in uni? So like you were probably like used
they
to it.
Like shit. Like no, they left you like you just let each other be. Like you just left it as it is.
Yeah.
He would just come flying in whenever he wanted to, knocking the door down. Just like he does a thing where he like pretends to slam dunk on the door. He just slam the door. I don't know. Like the kid just has energy just from nowhere.
I imagine he probably like I don't know if he went to college at all. But like I feel like that first year when you are living with someone, like that's kind of how you are. And then you kind of slow down, get your own space because you're kind of like, I just want my own fucking area type thing. Yeah, it sounds like he was just like at his first year of college or uni, just ready to go. He's
just energy. But as a duo, I mean, yeah, we said we were the duo last year, but obviously, I mean, the guy didn't pick me up at the start of this year, so I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Exactly.
But for real, college just like teach you how to like just
live
with people, like just deal with people and not piss them off and not get pissed off by them. And like literally just like you have to, or you're just not gonna be in college long. But no, that's dude, because I'm a super outgoing person. I'm wild, but I definitely would not be running through somebody's door because I don't know what I'd be seeing on the other side of that when I went through. Like, no, that's wild
over there, buddy.
Dude, I don't know, Joe. Do you see any other questions that you really wanted to get to? I just grabbed a couple while you guys were chatting earlier.
I think there was one more. Let me see. I closed it, but I'll find it. And I believe it was just about like any difference preparing from challengers to the league.
I saw that one.
I imagine it's much different, but maybe I mean you have a whole coaching staff. You're focusing on,
it's from T Brown 3434. What's the biggest difference in prep? Yeah, between the two.
So obviously you have a much bigger coaching staff. I had a coach, to be fair, all the way through challenges. We had a guy called Charles. Me and Scrap had him last year, and then I had him this year as well. So he did a lot for us, but the coaching staff is different. The main thing is just like practice, like the amount of times you play. Like in challenges, you have when the season started, you have Elite Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it changed to Wednesday, Thursday this year. Then a 2K Saturday, Sunday. So if you take an off day, if you take an off day, it's either Monday between the 2K and the Elite, or on the 2 days between. So like you never really get to take an off day unless you just want to miss like the 1 day in between tournaments. So you don't get the off day, and then you come to the league and you play. Obviously, everyone takes Monday off, just like all 12 teams don't play Monday, and then based on when you play on the weekend, you usually just warming a team up on 1 or 2 days, and then that's not really even scrims. Like you're playing 3 maps, so you definitely just play way less. So you just kind of have to put a lot more focus into actual scrims and like make them productive. Whereas in challenges, you see it a lot where scrims kind of become like a little bit trolly because you're just playing so much, so like they have to be, otherwise you just go insane.
That makes sense. Like I mean, we always said that too.
Quantity type thing.
Like challengers joining teams, like you probably have like some of these teams, like especially the bottom like half of the league, where if you are only playing 1 LAN match, like it loses round 1,
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of little things they might not even know that where challengers players can help them out big time.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%.
Literally due to how much you're playing. Like
I think that's
how
what
many
Tura did
tournaments
for
you have.
Vegas. I think Clay said that Tura was like basically teaching them how to play hardpoint at some points because, yeah, I mean his team was obviously really good, and then yeah, the amount of reps you get, like,
Yeah.
I feel like our team was the same last year in Vanguard. Like me and Scrap and Vickle, and then either Mo or Adam, whichever like phase of that team. I feel like we thought we were easily like top 8 league team if we got to play. Like we thought we were ahead of some league teams whilst not even scrimming them, and obviously that's like the biggest factor when you play against the better teams. You just get better. So.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you to everybody asking those questions. Respond to that. I mean, Hicksy, it was a blast talking to you today.
You're the fucking man.
I know you've been busy, but congratulations once again. Thanks for taking time out of your day to hang out with us. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for hopping on.
It was good fun.
No,
yes,
it was great. It's just I don't know, just awesome to learn more about you and kind of hear an insight to your life and coming up and everything. So thank you so much for coming on. And I listen, you had the event, you had all the content today. You've been grinding, man. So get some rest, chill. Hopefully Scrap doesn't come busting through your fucking door. But that's gonna do it for the episode. Thanks everybody that watched. We're gonna be pumping these out weekly. So continue to share them and watch them and have a very sexy evening. I just ordered 4 tacos, chips and quesos, and Diet Coke, and I'm gonna go get sweaty and nasty. Bye.